the building subcode official. So, I don't know if he thinks he's permanent part-time, because he's been consistently 6 hours a week.
Mhm.
He's supposed to be only coming in when you call him,
When you need.
not coming in, I don't know if he's coming in all automatically, or what's
Well,
going
okay.
on.
Karen track the hours?
No, they're scheduling the out, there's, you know, if somebody calls up for an inspection, Karen schedules them for those
But
hours.
it's consistent.
That's gotta be cut back, that's gotta be taken away. They're part-time inspectors when needed.
So
Not
Karen
regular
schedules them?
inspectors.
Right, so that's what I'm getting at,
That's
is
called
that
surpluses.
it sounds like that the $10,000 was not just guys sitting in an office, it was guys going out doing inspections. But those inspections were scheduled, right? And was there an urgency around those inspections?
I'm not
Well, we have
going on, let me know. And he didn't have an answer for me, I can't, you know.
Okay. So this is the first time that I know about this, nobody ever brought it to my attention.
It's not your
So,
fault.
Oh, no,
I
I'm
know.
just saying.
And if we had a business
Not
administrator,
even
I
going
know,
there.
and I
So
know.
just make it clear.
if we had a business administrator, they could probably keep
I just
it
wanna
on.
make it clear that if I had known about it, I could have gone to talk to Bill about it, maybe found out some more information before the meeting, but that's
Well,
okay.
everything
We
is-
know about it now.
a month or two behind, so she's
Well, we just did
catching
the
up.
payroll for March
She's
this
just
week,
catching up.
so that's when I saw the payroll for March, I said, there's still hours?
Right.
I said, what's going on?
Right.
Right, so,
And what you're saying is we're not seeing the projects, so what are they charging us for?
That's a Bill, an example of what I was saying. When they came to my house, it was one of the part-time inspectors, because he didn't even know who Bill was. And, yeah, he's like, Bill, who? And I was like, so how many do you have today? He's like, oh, just 3. And this was at like 11 in the morning, so it's not workload.
well, so I get the report on it every month, I get the report how many inspections we've done, right? I guess what I need to do is go back and look at what was done in previous years to compare that to see how many, you know, are they doing extra over and above, right? These are not just, I mean, these are valid inspections, obviously, right? But the question
Not
is,
obviously.
No, they are valid inspections, but they're calling
Well,
some,
maybe
they're
that's
calling
overtime,
part-time
right.
people in instead of our normal people.
Right,
It's
it
like-
shouldn't be outside.
It's almost like the senior citizen
Contract.
transportation, they were legitimate drives, but the
Yes.
wrong people were, it sounds similar to that, to
Right.
we're burning through.
Good point out.
We're paying salary or whatever for these guys.
Incorrectly, right, exactly.
right, so it might take them longer to get through the inspections, but they'll still get through the inspections for that month or whatever it is.
Within the hours that they have.
Within the hours they have, so, all right, so.
So I would like you to set a meeting up with Bill Connor, and I'd like to work with them.
Sure, that's fine.
So sometime in that. The
I
other,
mean, the other variable on this is that I know they have a new system, so whether they're calling these inspectors in for training, I don't know.
not consistently.
So that was line, that line that they drew through is 609?
No, it's 101 salary wages.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The other thing also that came up, and, I don't know where it came up, Harry. Karen asked for, to go to a conference.
I saw that email.
Okay, so, I wanna know, if things are in the works, why are we gonna send that person to a conference?
You have nothing in writing, that's.
I know, so, but I don't wanna have to pay the $700 or whatever it's gonna be for this person, and if in 2 months or at the end of the summer or whatever, I get
Yeah,
a
but-
letter.
We have nothing in writing.
If you wanna spend the $700 and then have somebody leave by the end of the year, I just wanna see if something is actually gonna happen, if we talk to her and find out if something is gonna happen, does she have to go to this
So
conference?
we talked to her, she indicated that something was gonna happen, but the directive I got, was you told me that we needed in writing.
Correct.
We have nothing in writing.
Correct.
So how
So
can you
my
send-
question is, do we
Yeah.
have to send this person to a conference for,
I can't go over there and ask her to write a resignation,
no, that's not what we're asking.
okay?
I'll ask them, I'll ask if this is necessary for her to go to this conference, if things are gonna be in the.
Maybe she could go next year. So. Whatever she
Or,
decides one
or we'll send somebody else that may be in that office that's not still looking at the future, that's all. there was a request for her to go to a conference
Yeah,
in Atlantic City.
yeah. And, you're worried about her leaving?
There's talk about that,
Oh,
going on, yes, by the end of the year.
right,
Right.
yeah, okay.
So is it worth sending someone like,
I get it, yes, sir.
yeah.
So is that sheet in here?
So you and Bill meet with
Yeah, I'd like to meet with Bill and
Bill?
O'Connor on Pleasant Street, so probably within. I'll get a handle on this.
10,000 is not much, actually.
But we have, we have nothing going on, right? There's nothing, I don't think projects, there's nothing going on,
Why is that?
there's nothing going on.
Did it pass it?
Remind me about that too. You still have more to go?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Just next to one.
Yeah, no, yeah, just,
Hello.
talk to you.
So I'm comfortable with leaving the salary line at 285. I don't know if anything was decided on third person. Like I said, there was an overage there of 15. If it's not gonna be full-time, if it is gonna be full-time, then we're currently short about 3,000. But that being said, other lines, would have to have some extra that we can just move up.
So I think this is what we talked about before, is, that's a temporary part-time person in that office, so, that person was only hired to do the large things, the condos and the townhomes and all that stuff, the apartments were being built, all at one time, so that's what that person was doing, in there for. Again, there's nothing going on now, I don't think we need a third person in that office, but again, we don't know really what's happening here, so that's gonna be a tough one. I'm certain we're not increase those hours, and we know something that's gonna happen, so. yeah. I don't know, but we don't really know what that's like, so.
So Anna, your question is, what are we doing with the salary line item? Is that your question?
Well, so right now, we're over, if the third person's gonna be full-time. If she's not, we have some wiggle room in there, and I'm comfortable with not reducing. I guess the pin was to reduce that line somewhat for that third person. But being that the outside inspectors are using some of that, I would recommend to leave it the way it is, and not reduce it.
We can see.
So, and the number is what, 285, 750?
Yes.
So, yeah, I would say just leave it, 'cause it was,
I have a note, 14,250 down. Did I make a mistake on something? Or?
No, so that was the pin that we had on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
That's
right now, I have in there a full-time third person. And I have 8,350 for outside inspections. The outside inspections exceeded by a little over 2,000. But the third person's is not full-time yet, she's still part-time, so we have some wiggle room in there.
Okay.
So instead of reducing it, I would recommend leaving it until,
Because you're still gonna have 3 people in there, so.
I'm okay. Until that, got you.
So, and hopefully, if there's a change that occurs, we'll go back down to 2 people. So, but that will probably be for next year. If it happens earlier, we might have to let you know.
you get all the room there.
Okay.
You get it.
Don't need it.
You get it.
and then, I guess the other thing, in this, department is the, I guess, you gave us this copy of
Yeah.
an estimate,
Yeah, so
so it looks
that,
like, 40,000.
what line is that captured on there, in the budget there?
That is line, facility maintenance, 5-01-22-200,
Okay, you're on
276,
Two-
44.
44, got it. Jump over there.
So what is this? This is
Digital,
40?
the digital scanning
Yes,
of the documents, final retention.
And we were gonna do over 3 years, because it's
Couple of
gonna be a
years.
lot more than this, but.
yep, well, so this, again, good bless, so, of course, this is only,
Here's how it works.
How you start? How
So
you
you're
start?
adding, so you're adding, 6,000 a year?
Every day.
Which line is this gonna be in?
276.
Yeah.
276.
Line 276, got it, facilities improvement. So that was at 34,000.
We had put 30 in there, I guess, and left it at the.
oh, I thought you said page 44.
We still on inspection.
Building
Um,
inspector.
There's a number of
Line,
lines.
line 276.
I don't have
Oh,
the
that's
numbers.
22,
22? Okay, that makes more sense.
when I reprinted it, the
Oh, okay, sorry, I was like,
line number.
so the requested is 34.
So
Well, we
here's
put
just
30.
so we can see what's
Yeah, for
there.
scanning.
But that was, yeah, so, 22. Yeah, right, 30 for scanning. Yeah, so again, this is just one proposal. As I've learned or discovered, right, with anything over 17,500 has to go out to bid, right? So we can't, this just gives an idea of the cost of it. But, what I know about this is that this would be done over the course of a couple of years, right? Because in order to do it,
The full project,
As a-
not this 40,000, right?
no, this is the whole thing.
This is the whole project?
This is one estimate, right? So when we go out to bid, it could change, obviously, right? But this would be
It's a lot lower
to
than.
Yeah,
do.
so hold on,
Me too.
I'm a
I
little
thought it was
confused, so
much
we were
better.
talking like 30, 30, 30, right?
We're talking about that.
Originally.
But this is the whole thing now.
Well,
talking
this
about.
is one quote
Yeah, all
for,
right, but it's the
for the
entire
whole thing.
project.
Yep. And the way they do it, if you look at it, he explains it, but he goes down, they basically look at how many boxes we have, what size paper they have. And then they do just a kind of on-site estimate of how much that's gonna be. So they say it's, 261,000 papers, that's just looking at how many boxes they have, and they say that's at a rate of 78 cents, or no, it's even less than that, 7 cents per page, right? So that's that's actually the biggest line item, is scanning of all that paper. And the way that this would work is, like, they obviously can't take all of our documentation at once, right? Number one, they would never be able to do it. Number two, if we ever needed it, right, we'd have to recall it, right? So they actually, this particular company has they have a service where if you need a particular piece of paper, you call them, they'll get it back to you within 24 hours. So if you have to look up somebody's plans or something like that, they'll get it back to you, right? But
But they don't take everything, right?
they'll
I'll say
take like a
15
third,
boxes,
Yeah, they'll take whatever they can manage in a time, and maybe they'll break it up by,
Yeah,
I don't know, a month, whatever it
It's
is,
a-
right? But the point is that,
Did
the,
you look?
it's a,
Did you come and look?
yeah, he did,
Okay.
he was physically here, I met with him, Bill was there, Karen was there, we were all there, we talked with him, and then he went downstairs to the basement, this is how he got these numbers, right? So
No blueprints?
he looked at, no, these scanned with no blueprints, larger than 11 by 17. They have, he's talking about 87 boxes, how he's gonna categorize all this stuff, so, yeah, anyway, the point is that this is, this is one estimate for what it would cost, but this would be for the total project.
So are we not
So-
scanning in the full-size 36 by 48 drawings?
So. No blueprints larger than 11 by 17.
Wouldn't he be putting the blueprints on some kind of film or something?
So there is,
Micro-
so according to it's under the Department of Treasury now, microfilm is a valid digitization method, but I don't know who uses microfilm anymore, right? So the way
When you got a 36 by 48.
well, but the way they do it now is if they scan it all, then you get it all in PDF and electronic
Yes.
format, so you don't need the microfilm in it anymore.
Okay.
So,
I'm still a dinosaur, excuse me. right?
Yeah.
He's got a microfiche.
But I get them done.
So so this would be to take all the boxes that are in the basement down there, and scan them all in.
Can I make a suggestion, just
Sure.
two things maybe, maybe something's on a co-op for this, state co-op probably, so we look into that.
Well, this is a,
Oh, it has
Yeah,
it?
they are co-op, they're
Okay.
co-op,
It's-
New
yes,
Jersey State
we
Co-op.
are
Group.
part of it.
Okay, so then that's fine then, so you don't have to go out for a bid decision.
Okay.
The other thing is, instead of adding, can we split this up for 2 years then? When you're adding again,
You mean adding?
yeah, you're adding 6,000, it's 34, now you're at 40.
It's still an estimate, right?
Yeah, it's still an estimate.
So,
Did you see this line though? It says that if we decide not to keep our residential blueprints for more than 10 years, then we can save up to, reduce our volume and save the rest
so
of it.
the other thing I was gonna say, just piggybacking on that, is I don't know if she's done everything, or gotten rid of every, purged whatever she can out of there, so some of those boxes might not need some, right?
So the thing they said about that is that legally, they cannot purge any
They can't.
documentation.
No.
Right, so it's either the folks in the office over there would have to go through every single document and determine what is purgeable and what is not, or they just scan it all in and then we just get rid of it, right? I think the cost, if you look at the cost to scan everything in, it's less labor intensive to do that, and then we just throw out the stuff
But the
we don't
police
want.
department purges their stuff, the clerk's office purges their stuff, looks like pay for stuff, but.
Right, but you gotta think about the extra hours we'd have to pay for somebody to go there and purge, right? It's gonna be more.
But we have that third
No,
person.
you have the third person in there.
Get rid of her. I thought they fired her already.
But that
And,
person
you know,
might be
we're not
gone at the
that
end of the
busy.
year.
So, I'm not sure if I'm reading this incorrectly. It seems to me that what they're giving us a price for is for any documents under the 10 years. What it's saying is that the residential blueprints are only required to be kept 10 years. Thereby, it's reducing the overall volume by 20%. The pricing below therefore assumes 87 boxes, not our whole, not everything
Yes, this is
there.
already top 20%.
Oh, they already took 20% off the
Yes,
top. Okay. So they're assuming that we scanned, that we
that we
did what we said, we
Yeah.
purged.
we purged.
Yeah.
So we're purging.
I'm sure there's documentation down there that's older than 10 years old, right? We don't have to keep any of that stuff, so, yeah, it's an estimate, right?
Yeah.
So for him to come in, if we actually wanna move forward with it, right, we'd have to have him come in and do an actual quote, right? The actual.
So do you know if there's stuff in there that's over 10 years, or, over 10 years old?
You wouldn't know.
I'm sure there is, I mean, I could ask Karen and Bill, but I'm sure there is.
Start
stuff
working on
that's,
that, and waste their time.
But you might have to do that.
1926.
Yeah,
Didn't put on my house.
yeah,
20 years ago.
Well, maybe when you meet the bill,
Might
add that to the list.
have a little, gauge on it. In the humidity.
So again, either make this a 20 or 25,000, whatever, and then do the rest next year, or add it, so.
They think they can get it done in 2 years? Or does it make a difference if it goes
It
3 years?
depends
Is
on-
it the same price if it goes 3 years, Bill?
it depends on the volume, and it depends on how, quite frankly, how quickly we respond to them, right? So like, if we're really chomping at the bit to get all this stuff done, they can do it in a year, they can do it in like 9 months if we want them to, right? But, it depends on how quickly we wanna do it.
Well, if we wanna cut the cost in half, and do it over 2 years,
I,
can we do that?
I talked to, the.
Yeah, my only concern is that, again, like, this is an estimate, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't, my concern would be cutting anything out of this based on this number, right? I would say that, if we keep the number where it is, don't increase it, keep it where it is, and then get, an actual quote from them on what we actually wanna do, then we can, if we go under, we're under, right? But we won't go over.
Yeah, but when
I
we
was,
budget for more than we need,
I spoke with the building inspector of Marsh Township. I guess they started this 7 years ago,
Yeah,
and they're still at it.
so the difference between Morris
They're
Township.
gigantic compared to
Well,
us.
the difference between Morris Township is that, my understanding is that they actually, I don't know if it's a clerk, but there's a person over there that actually scans all the documents themselves,
Cool.
right? or, yeah, whoever it is, right, they do it themselves. And that's why it takes a while, because you know, in and amongst all of our other duties, that person is there scanning all these things in, right, and then validating all this stuff. This is a quote to not do that ourselves, right? They come in, they
Love
take
it.
all the documentation, they do it, and then it gets us up and running. Plus, this includes, well, what this guy talked about was, the storage options, right? So it's, I think we have it's like 3 storage options. So one would go to SDL, one would be a cold storage drive that we get, and then another is a cold storage drive that's stored offsite.
So let me, how do you do this moving forward then? Where does that go?
What do you mean?
Moving forward, you get another document tomorrow?
Yeah.
More sets of plans or whatever.
So it's, right, so it's a point in time, obviously. So we'd have, it's a point in time. So we'd have to pick, say, another point, like, if we get enough
5 years down
documentation
the
in 6
road or
months.
whatever.
Yeah, if we say, hey, we don't, but if we were a municipality that did enough volume in 6 months, we needed them to come back in and scan, we could do that, right? Obviously, there'd be a quote for that. But yeah, you'd have to, you know, it's just a point in time. is what
Or
we're doing.
Can we just go digital? Is there,
Well, so that was his suggestion, is that, and this is part of, again, what I'm working on with, it's what I'm working on with, the checklist committee with Bill Ryden, Dave, and Mike, is that we don't need to require as many, prints of things, right? We require 19 prints, right? If we get that down to 3 to 5 sets, right, that reduces the amount of paper we have. And then, yeah, the suggestion is moving forward, do things digitally, hand them a thumb drive when you're looking at
Right.
review meetings, right? And then you don't have that much to scan. So,
But the actual, the legal document, I believe, is paper document.
yeah, so we still
So
have
that
the
would have
document.
to, but that would, is what's gonna be scanned.
Yep.
Right, because if something happens with the thumb drive or whatever, but the actual legal document is.
Well, right now, if something happens with the paper, like there's a flood over there or a fire, forget it,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's why we gotta
The other
digitize.
thing to think
they
about is,
accept digital.
once you do the baseline of everything we have, as it comes in, how hard is it for the staff to scan it in?
Well, that's the point, right? Is that,
Rather than sending it out again in 6 months or a year.
that's kind of the point, is that if you get things digitally, right? The whole.
Yeah, it'll dwindle down as you go.
Part of the purpose of this is digital backups, right? So if you get things in digitally, you can just add it to whatever backup system we end up using, and then you don't have to scan anything.
Right, but even
Right.
if they get a regular volume going forward, they
Yeah.
can scan.
So let me,
Sure.
another question I have, this is all stuff. What about, did you check with Bluetooth, does it get stored here? Because we have, we're at close to, I would say, max on storage now.
Does it get stored here? So wherever our SDL database is pulling from, that's where this documentation gets stored. So I don't know the answer to that.
SDL is the same company that stores it.
So SDL is the records management software. These
That's
guys,
the clerk's office.
yes.
Yeah, so that, it's on the cloud, which
Right.
means it's replicated across multiple places, so it's not on our server.
So then, yeah, this information would go to whatever cloud that's in,
Yeah.
so we can hide.
So we don't have, I know it's on the cloud, but is it ours or is it
Yes.
somebody else?
We own it, it's proprietary to us. So we don't have to pay
So
to
if
get
we
it.
ever have to want to leave SDL, we were able to get that export and go over to that.
So we don't have to maintain, store, nothing is our responsibility.
All the
We might,
infrastructure is on
although we might have to pay for storage on the cloud.
That's part of the SaaS contract.
Alright, so
All the licensing, all the infra is all.
For SDL.
Yeah,
But is that
they don't lump in data.
additional data?
No.
Okay,
No. Software as a service.
that's good.
it sounds too good to be true, if you ask me.
If anything, the data storage is super cheap, it's using a portal and
No,
everything.
no,
That
no.
would be-
They're charging you 7 cents a page, there's nothing about storage or, that storage isn't in that cost.
No, they don't store it.
Well, it's up in the cloud, right?
They just
They
scan.
own your material.
They scan it,
No, no, they don't,
email
this
it,
they
thing
don't own
goes
the
to us.
material.
but they scan it and send it to the
Goes
cloud.
to SDL.
Yeah,
Right.
they,
And it was licensed.
Well,
because
they
we did it
send
last
it to
time.
SDL.
Right.
There's 3, right?
there's 3
There's
versions
3.
of
They
it.
keep one, they give us one,
Right.
wherever we're gonna store it,
Right,
and then SDL gets one.
right.
So the mayor's asking about the one
Our
that we're
storage.
getting,
Yep.
is about a thumb drive?
I just told you, I'm sorry, I used terminology that maybe, so cold storage is a physical drive that the data is stored on that is not plugged into the network anymore. So,
Alright, that explains.
Put it
it.
in
Yeah.
a safe and lock it.
yeah, sorry, yes, exactly, you put it in a safe, you lock it.
Okay.
We just learned it on the cybersecurity training.
It's like an 8-track.
No, no, I didn't hear what he said.
Yeah,
No, I
sorry.
didn't hear that part.
Sorry, yeah,
I don't know about, I'm,
Sorry.
the latest is thumb.
sorry.
It's interesting to learn about.
Yeah.
Well, that, I
Floppy
mean,
disk.
some of the finance terms that I hear, I'm like, I don't know what that is, right, the same thing.
Alright, so just so we can move on, I would suggest not raising this, like, just going with what we have.
Yeah.
Seeing how that works out.
So I'm okay with that.
34.5.
Okay, check.
And 30, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds like a win so far, I mean,
That's a lot less than.
what we hear, right, well, especially if it's not 30,
And if
30,
it
30.
ends up being, once we get it, right, if it ends up being less next year, then it's less
Yeah.
next year.
Hallelujah.
So, there we go.
Just check on the full size drawing, we can always lump that in.
Yes, yes.
So then, the next pin I had is the police department, so one of the pins was, I guess we did discuss the police warranty on the new cars, and when I spoke to the chief, I went back to him and he had said that, if he can have it just on the one car, it'd be, beneficial. There's a repair on the, one of these batteries that is pretty expensive. So if we have the extended warranty and the battery needs to be repaired, it would be covered.
How many miles on the cars now, with batteries?
Car 3 is one of our hybrids, and it just hit over 105,000 miles.
And then the other one's not far behind, I guess.
Not far behind, 102, 103, and that's my
So
overall
they'll be
concern.
coming up with, as replacements anyway, in the next year or so. More than likely, in that would be-
Yeah, the current request for the extended warranty is on the brand-new hybrid that hasn't even hit the road yet. That would cover this brand-new car that's coming in the door.
So if my notes are correct, we had, and check me on this, but we had 35,000 in vehicle maintenance. Is that the line that we're
Original.
carrying it in?
Yes.
And we discussed, if we took the extended warranty out, we discussed reducing it by 10,000 or reducing it to 10,000?
By
10,000,
10,000.
so it'd be 25,000. Okay, so we're valuing the extended warranty at $10,000.
And did both cars need the
No,
replacement with the battery?
I think she's
Uh,
added three
The one car
three
needed.
warranties in there. It's
Correct.
not, you're not cutting it 10,000, she added 3 warranties in there.
The
That's the
10,000 was for
warranty cost.
several warranties, not just the one.
Correct, I'm only asking now for the one.
So it's not the
Okay.
maintenance that's going down, we're just eliminating
Right, but
several extended warranties. Now we're only talking about one for 3,500.
no, I get it, but it's in the vehicle maintenance line item is where you carried it, right?
Correct.
So it's not going down by 10,000, it'd be going down by 3,500 or whatever the cost of one warranty is.
One-
7,500, you're taking
Yes.
2 out of there.
You're taking
Two
two
out,
out.
and we're keeping one, okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
we haven't, if that's what the council wants to do, I mean, we've
Yeah,
been
so the
lucky
one
to
is
just-
3,500?
It's under 3,000.
Yeah, it's 32.
The value of one is 3,500, that's what you're saying, okay.
And what is it extended up to?
6 years and,
100, 600?
yeah. Another
I
100,000.
just AI it, and it says hybrid batteries typically last 8 to 10 years for 100 to 150,000 miles. You said it was 100,000 on?
102.
105 on car 3.
Yeah.
But which one has the new battery?
No,
Well,
this
the
is
new car,
this
the
is
new
the
car
third
hasn't been
No, no, I
delivered
know,
yet,
but which
so
one are we expecting them
one.
by?
The new one.
the brand new,
I know.
new car that hasn't hit the road yet.
That's the
I'm
one that
just
warranties.
talking about longevity.
Right.
So does car 3 or car 4 have the replaced?
I couldn't tell you which,
Yeah.
we have 2 hybrids in the fleet, 3 and 5 are hybrids, and I don't know which one had the,
Yeah, it's not.
and that was the concern, the new battery for the car, if it has to be replaced, is a $20,000,
For
Cost.
a hybrid battery.
Wow.
yes.
Versus,
That's how we all.
versus
write off.
$3,500 for a warranty that would cover it.
Lithium, I guess, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they're small batteries.
Which now, if we would put a second car in the fleet, you're talking about, hopefully rest on these cars, which is the plan. resting these cars a little bit more frequently
Wow.
with an additional car.
Yeah.
Again, we have
About, yeah.
we have our occasional issues. We weren't expecting the Tahoe to get hit and be out for, you know, 6 months, right? Anything could happen.
The new car could blow up tomorrow, so, you know.
Yeah,
Hey, it could happen.
I gotta get it on the road first.
You gotta be realistic.
There's a bumper to bumper on it.
Yeah, you gotta be realistic. Now, can extended warranty be purchased later?
Price of that.
Correct.
In all the years that you had your gas vehicles, what was the, I don't know, how much mileage did you get out of gas vehicles before you had to replace it?
50, 80.
I mean, it's hard to say because we've never had this many issues with cars going in and out of service.
Okay.
But yeah, we were typically replacing cars at 80,000 miles. You know, there's a 5-year rotation. We're getting one car in and out every
No,
year.
between 100 and 180 somewhere in there. The 150, I think we had of one of them.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, that's hard to say too, because we would push those to the traffic fleet and now they're, you know,
More idle.
they're more idle and,
So you already have 200,000 miles on it.
Two square.
Can we, are we allowed to shop, the warranty first? Or do we have to go with this one dealer?
I think you have to go with the dealer where you get it from.
Oh, you don't have to.
Oh, no?
There's a dealer that I know out in Oklahoma that sells it for like $200 per quote. So,
I don't know, we didn't have, my opinion, I don't know, I'm gambling with dice, we haven't had a problem with the other ones. I think the technology you probably know is maybe better than it. If we stop production of these for, I think, 2 years. We did them, so we did the time,
if they fail, they usually fail early. So we get more.
Most electronic.
Yeah, that was one we had. It was under warranty period that it failed, so.
20 grand.
So what's the standard warranty on the vehicle when you first get it?
5-year, 100,000 miles.
36 or 3 or 60,000, right? 5 and 60.
They were extended to the 5-year though.
Right.
They're saying the 100, right?
This is another 6
So the
years,
two are.
100,000 miles.
So it's another 6 beyond the original,
Correct.
so it essentially gives you 11 years, right? 11 years out of the vehicle, you're gonna replace it at 11 years anyway.
They're showing maybe not.
Oh, yeah.
Say, if
No,
he
no,
makes
no.
it there.
Oh, no, but I'm saying like, use my,
5 or 6 years.
I mean, so, you know, it's like an insurance policy, they're paying to
I bet it-
cover your butt if it does happen, if not, you know,
I'm
you
obviously
take
not
the risk,
mechanic,
but we
this
could
was
have
his recommendation. That's all I'm
$20,000
basing my assessment off
battery.
of.
I did speak with
recommendation
Seymour,
from a
who's the
mechanic.
guy that works at the cars at the DPW.
yeah.
I mean, in general, he just said he was a bigger fan of the gas cars, cause he's just had less issues with them, but that's a moot issue in the sense that we've got the hybrids.
Sure.
He just said the parts and the, you know, replacements on those are much higher.
Okay.
So,
They
you
can't
know.
do a lot of the work, a lot of the work has to go back. to
Correct,
the-
so he, you know, again, his recommendation was that, which is what I that's kind of why I pushed for it at the last meeting,
Get
just
the
because,
warranty?
was to get the warranties, just because he said it just kind of covers your butts if anything does come up, but I realize there's a cost to it, I mean,
If you think about it, amortize over the life of the vehicle, $50,000 a year, $200 a year.
essentially, yeah, so, but I think I was the only one that voted yes for it.
So,
Oh, did you? Was it? Okay.
well, what's, so,
Go back to the video.
so the question
Enough
is,
for 10.
so the question is, right now we're carrying 35,000. The question is, do we wanna reduce that?
Conditions where we're carrying 25.
So it's an increase of the 10, and that was why it came up, was because it was at
So now you're
25.
gonna increase it.
But they,
Right now it's 25.
So,
And that-
3,500.
And that includes zero,
Yes.
Maintenance,
that includes
Zero
zero,
warranty.
extended warranty for the 25.
right. So if we added, how many, we're just adding one?
They're asking for one,
oh, okay, so
for
that's,
the new vehicle.
that's different, okay. So the one is just 35, not, I guess it was initially for 3, right? And
Yeah.
that was the 10K, okay,
Correct.
okay.
But now, by the time you do the other two, those will be most likely replaced by a newer vehicle in that cycle, so.
Right,
it
okay, okay.
Doesn't seem to make sense to do that.
So we had it at 35, we put it to 25, and now we're saying bump it up to 28.5 to cover the warranty, is that right?
I would say 28,
Yeah, 3,000.
yeah, 3,000.
Okay.
Maybe we can use this guy in Oklahoma.
Can we use your guy?
Have you had any other
Do you
issues?
do you have state contract in Oklahoma?
Have you had any other issues outside of, out of warranty that we had to repair out of pocket?
I mean, yeah, 'cause they all,
I mean, we had rear ends blow.
Here and
No, no,
there
but
and
that's
stuff.
insurance cover, I mean, like mechanical.
No, rear
that-
ends blow, we've had, you know, Bruce's car just was in there for,
Yeah, okay.
rear end or something twice, I think, you know.
And two's supposed to get a brand new transmission in it, cause that's, you know, that's covered, so,
Yeah, that's
but
what
yeah, I
out of
mean,
warranty.
that was the other thing, looking at my year-over-year maintenance budget, last year was 25, and we were right up against that with like, at like 24 and change. So I've been pretty,
But you added cars too, so.
been pretty much on the mark. Well, this is maintenance budget, it's not, you know,
Yeah,
new
but you
cars.
added vehicles.
Yeah, I would just be careful.
7 or
There's a lot
9
of-
instead of 5 or 6, whatever.
There's a lot of exclusions in these extended warranties, so like seals, so.
You're still gonna pay for something, it's probably just the
Transmission line.
Seals, like,
You know, there's a lot of exclusions,
like,
No,
like seals.
like the
on-
rear main seals, if that was actually made.
Oh.
I think it's a $3,000-4,000 job, yeah, that's
Engineering.
So we're gonna pay for it.
Something totally different, but,
Oh, yeah, what
Just-
is here?
I know, it's interesting how smart everyone is within their own field. I'm like, how do you- how do you-
It's funny, I just told a story.
Yeah, no, I think
That's
it's,
what seals.
I mean, it's amazing to see
Because
people's
warranty didn't cover.
knowledge, I think it's great, I'm learning a ton, so I'm
Yeah.
excited.
160 a month.
Are we sure that it covers the battery?
Yes,
Usually it does.
because it covered the first
So if it's the
life.
That's
battery.
what Seymour said, was the main thing it does. is
When
the
two lost the
battery.
battery and we had to replace it, it would have been 20,000, however, we had the warranty.
That
If
was
we can
Seymour's
confirm
concern.
that the extended warranty includes the battery.
It does,
You just
Okay.
said that on a previous vehicle, it does.
that's
Yeah,
all it
That
really
wasn't
is.
extended,
So-
was it extended?
No, that was the initial warranty.
Yeah.
Regular one.
I'm good with it.
Yes, we're adding one, so
So
we're
just-
making it 28,000.
28,
yes.
it's better than 35.
Okay.
And then the other pin that we had in police department was the Civic Plus, the social media. Just, I didn't get it.
Online?
It's, under office machines, 240-280.
How much is it? 218?
Office machines included how much for that? I was on my other notes.
5,180, oh, sorry, 190.
From 1960.
Office machines, it's the next page
25.
after the one we were just looking at.
25, no, it's previous.
Oh,
Right, yeah, office.
1,194. I didn't change this line because you guys were saying that you were gonna think about it.
Sorry, I'm just getting caught up. What were we thinking about?
About Civic Plus, whether
Okay.
at the time you had
Social
said.
media archiving and all that we,
Gotcha.
it's in the line, so we kept it in. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was saying Chief had the concerns about the transparency, if we take stuff down,
Yeah.
and it just was a
And what,
discussion.
do we know what the cost of that is?
Number five.
1,183, is that an annual cost?
Yep.
Yes, that's for the year.
So it's every year, right?
Well, Nancy, you and I were just at that film conference and the chief, Hanover Police was talking about using social media all the time, so it sounds like it's pretty important for,
Right, two-way communication.
Yeah.
It's not just one way.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
software is expensive.
Maybe we just keep adding and adding software and all this other stuff.
But it is about archiving. When I spoke to Roseanne Clerk, so they're in charge of data and, you know, what they, Oprah's and what we have to archive, what we can destroy. And I guess she does say that certain things like emails and I guess social media, you can request to Artemis to destroy going back a certain amount of years or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
So, but that would, you would have to remove that data from your social media account.
Mhm.
So you have to scrub it yourself.
Yes,
Without this, percent.
No, even if you have the software, they can, what they're storing is X amount of, it doesn't have to be till the dawn of time, but they have to store it, because we can, start.
Typically, after
Record
7 years.
retention.
Technically, be till the dawn of the internet, every single one of us is older than the internet, so.
Yeah, but typically it's 7 years, I think, so it might be less.
Never thought about
I
that.
said that to my
They may
kids,
feel really old.
my kids are like, wait a minute, what? Yeah.
I guess it's a question of, is this something that should be part of the operating budget of the police department? If we wanna allow them to have this two-way communication with the public that they currently have, it's an expense that we have to budget for every year, period. It's best practice, it's,
I think in this day and age, it's what's
people
expected.
expect it,
It's
right?
what's
People
expected.
expect it. It's a lot of what the pushback was that we heard from residents last year, that they don't see that there's enough transparency, so for us to cut something that we're currently doing,
Yeah.
seems to me like a move backwards instead of moving forward. Just seems like a bad decision.
Yeah,
Um,
I absolutely agree that we should keep it. My only question is, are there other alternatives, or is this it? Right, is this the only company that does it? And do they do it at, are there other, like, I don't know anything about it, right? Is this the only company that does this?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so. I do
Okay.
believe it's the one we've looked into.
Okay.
It's the most heavily used,
Okay.
by police departments and across the board.
Okay.
And I think it was more of, I think we could look into it if it's approved. I think it was kind of,
So what I would say is, my opinion,
yeah,
is that we carry it for this year, but we put a asterisk on it saying, let's look into other services to
absolutely.
see if there's alternatives that, yeah, cheaper is not the right term, because I
No,
don't want
I-
people to think we're cheap,
No,
but
no,
like,
I know you-
maybe less costly, and maybe a better way to put it.
sales?
So let's not forget that, because
Which
last
is your
year,
sales.
when we put this into place, I think the same thing.
Speak well.
I know it wasn't in the budget last year, but we added it, in the year, it was gonna be looked at, and it never did, so if we're gonna do this again, it most certainly has to be looked at. And again, it's 5,000.
No, I'm public safety. I'm happy to look into it or spend a little time with chief or someone doing it. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll add, if you don't mind, is that, what I included with the budget packet is this is a sole source,
Yes.
because what this company offers is the fact that for us, you can have up to 12 social media sites for the borough. We use 2. We have our Instagram page, we have our Facebook page. So there's the ability to add, again, to Nancy's point, if you don't wanna leave it under my operational budget, it has the opportunity to add however many other pages the borough has that allows comments or posts or whatever that you might have to recall for an open request. The other thing that this allows the police department to do is if we allow comments on our social media pages and somebody mentions a flagged word of bomb threat, active shooter, and active violence, it triggers that and automatically sends representatives to the department a push notification, hey, you had an indication that there was some type of active, threat or violent, statement on your social media sites, wherever that might be, and it alerts us. There's not another service, at least according to them,
Okay.
with their sole source letter that, their proprietary software on that.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you, chief, that's what I wanted to understand, is that what separates them from somebody else,
Sure.
you explained it. But it sounds like for that $5,183, we could add up to 10 more pages to it, right?
The problem with that is that we don't have an admin for our social media accounts in the borough who's gonna be watching. Like, you have to monitor that and make sure you're answering it, otherwise the information gets stale, and people get more angry if you're not answering them. So we don't allow
I'm not
comments.
saying we
Yeah, so-
do allow it, I'm saying
Yeah.
it's included in the cost of
Right,
the
but
money.
we wouldn't use it,
I wouldn't use it.
at least right now.
You have somebody that watches social?
We do, yeah, there's 3 or 4 different admin people that, get text messages or respond to messages, and part of the reason why we leave it is because sometimes we get the occasional tip or, comment on, issues throughout town and that we monitor, so.
Lost dog.
Hey, don't,
Yeah,
You never
Lost
know.
dog is people's emergency.
word.
That's the thing, man.
let's hope
Some
it stays
of
that,
these dogs and people's
pace.
lives.
But we have used it for Crime Stoppers tips and things like that on investigations, so, less likely than, our lost dogs. They're members of the family.
lost child.
Correct. It was done that before, missing persons, endangered
So do
persons.
you delete comments if they're inappropriate?
There is a caveat on our page, you know, foul language and, you
Because
know,
like, I think something about the archiving rules, you're not allowed to.
You can delete it, you
hide
have to store
You
it.
have to, you have to store.
Correct.
So that's what this will allow you to do.
Right.
You can get rid of the stuff you don't want,
Right.
but it's still archived. Okay.
and that was, you know, that was their point about, you know, whether you use Archive Social or Civic Plus, they're formerly Archive Social. But, you know, if we put up a post, and Tyler comments on something and then just realizes, oh, I wanna take my post down, he deletes his post. Everybody else that commented in response to Tyler's thing, that post is gone, and we could still be subject to having to reproduce that, so.
Right, right.
Well, what's the name of the software?
Civic Plus.
Civic Plus.
They do a lot of things, the website.
Yeah, it's a big company.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at, you know, I can certainly share that with all of you, the number of entities in public safety that deal in Morris County, they're with a majority of it.
You get like 70% of business probably.
Yeah. I mean,
But again, to the mayor's point, listen, that price isn't ever going down, right? It's an anomaly that you take on, and, you know, there's gonna be incremental increases, so.
Yeah, 70% market share.
Okay, so.
Incremental increases, I'll remember that word.
Leaving it,
I didn't say how much incremental.
I know, but that's a
And I'll
very,
look into it, I mean, I'll, you
very
know, I'll
wide
do my
open
research on it.
Yes.
statement.
We
Very
can find
wide
something
open.
similar that's, you know,
So, the next pin that we had was fire prevention, and, so we're gonna look into the software flow.
I would do Tyler.
I spoke to Chris, I don't know if you kind of want to look at it further.
no, go for it, I mean,
So there was a question if they had bought that software already, and we were adding a secondary software.
Is that 34?
So he said he never was, they didn't get the approval for the software, and I think Jason, you thought he had already had that.
Yeah, we
software.
have, yeah.
He said he never purchased it, I don't know if you got a chance to speak to Chris, but that's what he told me.
he just said he didn't have it, and
Right.
it's something he wanted,
Correct,
so,
yeah.
and thought was much needed.
Yeah, Jason, I remember that, he requested it last year, so.
Yeah.
But he never had it, it's not, adding to it's not an additional software, it's an initial purchase.
No, I think he requested it, but at the last year at this budget meeting,
Right.
we said no.
Correct.
So he didn't have it.
Right, no, right, no, I'm not,
Yes.
yep, that's 100%.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's requesting it
he's
again,
a
because he really
request.
wants it.
Excuse me.
So what does the software do? Remind me?
This is the 3D mapping
Yeah,
of
thank
the
you.
buildings that we,
What's that?
it's the 3D mapping of the interior of the buildings.
Okay. Oh, right. You're like a walking
Yeah,
encyclopedia.
he gave me a breakdown, that's why I was just trying to find it.
All those.
But essentially, that's what it does, is it provides,
To who?
what do you mean?
Is it in all the trucks? Just
Or is it a
one?
training aid that they do in the firehouse?
I would say it's fine. I didn't ask that question, but I would imagine it's in all the trucks, so
I-
anybody that responds can go.
It goes into the system and it shows like a,
Map of
almost like a
the map.
3D kind of like floor plan, I guess you could say, so they're able to see the entrances and exits, and if they know where the fire is coming from, and it sort of provides them a outline of the building before they go, as compared to just not having much, or just
Or
looking
if
at
the guy
the,
is
you know.
lost in the building and they can say, oh, I just felt the door, and after the guy.
Right.
Get
Wait,
out.
it's
got
in
it
the
now.
truck? It's in the truck, or is it on
Yeah.
like the laptop?
They have-
Tablet?
Yes.
So on something like that, doesn't the chief have something in his vehicle outside there that would,
I was gonna say,
That
should
would
that
do
fall
that?
under fire prevention or
Yeah,
fire
I-
department? Sounds more
I
like
don't
fire
know.
department.
it should be in my, if that's the case, it should be provided in the chief's vehicle, I would think. He has the big screen on an
It'll be-
incident, right, not on a computer screen or something in the.
Probably allows multiple.
Photo database, it'll be live on all the fire apparatuses and provide important safety information when responding to fire and emergency calls. Requested it last year, but was, turned down at that point. He said it's for the pre-planning of commercial buildings, that's what I was having trouble remembering. So he was saying for things like the warehouses, just the huge buildings that would be of higher concern. I'm
So-
newer to this, he's telling me they need it, sounds like it could be helpful.
We did a drill one time, it was either Warner Lambert, Honeywell, and it was all the cubicles, turned off the lights, you black out your mask, you don't know where you're going, like you're touching this, touching that, you have no idea, so I don't know if that has that kind of detail, but.
Well, it's not like you have a heads-up display in your helmet.
Yeah.
Once you're out there, you're out there.
No, right, but, yeah, exactly. I
So
don't know
being in
if
the
that's
truck.
like a pre-plan, like, hey, this floor has this, you know, take the left wall.
Yeah, but don't you have that already? Doesn't the county provide that?
We don't,
And
we
you
get
guys-
dispatched by the county, we don't get a lot of
No,
money.
I know, but I thought they had that.
They were talking about active shooting, I know that.
No, not that.
With the police
It's the fire
and the
department.
schools.
You think the
So you
county
have
has
no-
3D maps of our commercial buildings? Really?
I think so.
What's
I only knew about the
what's
schools,
Computer
you know, they
Square?
did commercial
Cause
buildings.
they added Computer Square in the fire department.
What's that?
Computer Square, so Computer Square was a program,
Software.
software that the county was doing, and then the county, started separating it with the municipalities. So it's $4,000 a year that we're,
Think you could tap into it.
well, this is new for 2025,
Oh.
$4,000. Well,
It's not in the department.
no,
Yeah, right,
a lot of
exactly.
IT is new, yeah.
100%,
We're guessing here.
yep,
Um,
thank you for attending.
so what's the total cost of the software?
$28,042.
28,000?
I mean, sorry, 2,842, sorry, 2,842.
And
And
that's
it went
per
up, it went up from 2,678 last year.
2,800.
So he's requesting the 2,842.
But that's gonna be a yearly cost.
Well, I'm sorry.
Correct.
With that same incremental increase.
Yeah, I got it.
The 2842 is mobilized, which already
You
has.
already have it.
The 2,500 is the second software.
Oh, yes, you're right, the yearly fee
It's
is
25.
2,500.
Got it. Got it.
And I can assume eventually, yes, there will be a.
Was that in your, was that in the updated stuff?
It was the
Fire
last
prevention?
time.
It was in the original.
We didn't change it.
Okay.
It's the
We
original.
talked about it.
Okay, all right, that's why I don't see it.
And he gave me a
Yeah.
breakdown of all of it, which was helpful,
But
an
it was
explanation
but
of
we
all
were
the requests.
discussing it at the last budget meeting,
So,
and someone was gonna get more information about it to see whether we wanted to do it.
yeah, and I think Tyler, between Art and Tyler, we got that. So I think my question is, do the other municipalities use the same software? Like, is it concurrent to, like, does Parsippany use it, does
Mutually,
Morristown use it, right? When we do
Yeah, like if
mutual aid calls.
Honeywell has an issue, and now Tabor's coming down.
Right, or Morristown's coming over, we go to Morristown Airport or something, or one of those.
Did not ask that question, but I do know we have one truck that's shared services, so that would be.
We
other
have all
towns.
of them.
Right, right, well, I guess I'm thinking of when the
That's
one
just
was
an
up
air
there.
truck.
Yeah, that, so,
But I'm not saying no, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
right? Can you go back to?
Yeah, I don't have
whether it's
that
a chief or
answer.
Chris and say,
Correct.
hey, is this a mutual?
I would
Sure.
say,
Tabor's not.
they always discuss what's called Black Meadows,
Okay.
so like you said, Morristown,
Right.
they usually are, the chiefs meet regularly.
Okay.
I'm a little stepped out of the
Mhm.
know, but, I think, I'm assuming they did that,
Yeah.
that's assumption, but I'm not saying they wouldn't or they didn't, but that would make sense, that's a great question.
Me too, it's just for edification, I
right.
don't think it
It
doesn't.
doesn't really boost the value.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, because if
for
we're just,
everybody.
if we're not only, if we're mapping our buildings for other departments, that's helpful to them, and then vice versa,
Right.
right? If they're mapping it for us, then, and it's all shared, like,
Yep.
going back to SDL, right, the other towns use SDL, for records management, so all the inspectors are familiar with it, so we go out and use it, right? So it kind of makes sense. with
That
those
makes a lot of sense.
Anyway,
Good-
it doesn't
good
really
Good
impact
question.
my decision, but. So I would say, yeah, let's keep it in, because I think it makes sense.
I agree.
yeah, the main thing I asked him was just like, is there other programs, et cetera?
Yeah.
It sounds like, again, this is the preferred
But
one,
we
this
could
is the
just
one
get
that's
back-
used, I just didn't ask who else uses it.
Right.
Let's
So,
just get back to us if it's.
Sure, yeah, I'll call him tomorrow, absolutely.
Compatible.
What's your question, Jason? I'm
If
sorry.
it's compatible,
Compatible with other towns.
in other
Oh,
towns,
okay.
access.
With like all the
Yeah.
radio system and everything.
And then if there's a process, once the plans change, like if the warehouse puts up a whole bunch of partition walls,
Yeah,
that
that'll
needs to feed
change.
back into the system.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
get
not
updated.
good, or else it's worthless.
Correct, I mean, I assume that, I would hope it does that, but.
They come from the building department, right? Get a permit. Maybe that activates the, information.
Just find out.
Yeah, sure,
Updates.
absolutely.
Alright.
And then, the next thing that I had on fire prevention, I know it wasn't a pin, but I know I spoke to, Tyler and Art about the arson association, and at the time, he had told Tyler that he had it in his budget, but it wasn't approved, so now the budget is being approved. So the question is the borough gonna allow an additional association for the fire prevention official to be part of?
So where is that picked up, and what's the cost?
It's only $148 for
Okay.
for
Which
the
line?
year. Yeah, it's I think in the miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, she's got 3,000 miscellaneous?
It's in there, yeah.
That would be
Arson.
included. Are we saying we need to increase the 3,000, or that's included as part of the 3,000?
He put it, he has us included, I guess
Oh,
the
okay.
question is, you know, I know with associations, there's certain associations that the council allows department heads to be part of, and usually they encourage department heads to be part of their association, and maybe the county association and the state. This would be in addition to the regular association, the arson association, so that's something that the council would have to approve, whether you want the prevention official to be part of that association.
I don't know what.
I don't know if it's really necessary, in my opinion, I don't know if it's necessary, again, that's kind of discussion before, but now it's just another add-on, that'll have incremental increases.
Year.
But the county does all the arson investigations. They have the, arson team, sheriff comes out,
Yeah,
the prosecutor comes out for arson. If one of the chiefs or a fire person, or police or somebody suspects that there's arson, then that would be, turned over to them. I don't think every individual town takes care of their own arson.
Sounds to me like it would involve training as well. I don't, like,
Well, Chris said the opposite with the mayor said, that they don't respond, we have to determine if we think it's arson, and then they'll come down, so if you don't have someone that's qualified or trained or part of an association to make the call.
They gotta be,
Right.
they gotta be.
Nancy said, is this $148 to get into $3,000 worth of training?
No, it's just the
It's just-
association.
No, I know, but
It's
what's
a training
the-
goes along
but
with
if
that.
What's
he
the
wants to
word?
join it, what are
If
the
he gets a piece of
criteria,
paper
does he
on the
have
wall,
to train?
Right.
You might just have to cut a check.
Yeah, I don't think there is, I mean, from what he explained to me, it's a one-time fee of 148, and then that's it, then you're in.
So the license and association are totally different things,
Yeah, but
you
then is
know,
the borough
there's,
gonna,
Yeah,
there's
is
a
the
tax
borough gonna
collector and
continue
treasurer's
sending some
association,
classes
which I'm
or
part of,
updates or
but,
whatever?
you know,
I mean,
the borough wants me to have licenses, can I be part of the association and be retired, yes, can I let my license lapse, sure.
But so for that association, is it a yearly thing that you pay?
It's a yearly.
So this would be good, okay.
But you said it's a one-time fee.
That's what he told me, he said it's just the 148.
Any
A year.
Yeah.
A year,
any
but
association gets-
I'm not,
Okay.
I don't believe that we would incur
Well,
other expenses.
But to your knowledge, right, he just asked to be part of the association, but he didn't mention anything about training. So
Yeah.
if there's additional, I get it, but if it's not, if he didn't already ask for
Is there
it, or it's
additional
not the
training?
budget, so,
But he did go to, arson training, that was the whole hoopla earlier, that he didn't ask for any
I
permission.
He
thought I
thought it
remember
was
that,
inside,
yeah.
he thought it was inside the budget, it was misunderstanding.
I think he should be as educated as he can be, that's my
I'm not
opinion.
disagreeing with you.
No, I'm not arguing,
Yeah, yeah.
that's just my opinion. I wasn't raising my voice, I'm just saying, if you're gonna hire a guy that's gonna be our fire marshal, and he goes to fire, and he's like, oh, I don't know, or I do, and he can or cannot call the county, I just think he should be part of
He's
the
not gonna be
association.
doing
But
it.
And the 148 would certify him
Not gonna
to
get
call the
trained.
county.
no, but they might send out a newsletter,
Right.
that's updates,
This is a-
like, this is
yeah,
the
there's a
latest
class
thing on
available.
electric vehicles, like, here's.
Hey.
I mean, in the, yeah, there's
Fires if they want.
freaking electric vehicles. Somebody should figure out how
Burn 'em
to make
all,
a truck
fill
for
with
it.
Teslas.
Training, so in the training budget, he's only got $1,000. He's not asking to increase that.
Yeah, it was just a question.
No, it's a good question. I'm just saying that I didn't, the question about training is a good one, but he didn't seem to indicate.
Like
that
Nancy
he
said,
needed
maybe there'll
training.
be a seminar coming up in 2026, who knows?
Right.
Yeah, I'll double check with him, I mean, he did not mention it, but I'll double check.
So I
with
believe
him.
with the belonging to a association or something like that, and in our bylaws, it allows that person to be out of town to go to convention or whatever, something like that.
So our personnel manual allows department heads to be at outside seminars 5 days.
So you're gonna incur those costs too.
I send the police department out for that training, that's what they do.
So it's 5 days, so.
Five total days.
I'm just throwing it out there, people say
I have
there's
two
no
different
other
licenses,
cost,
and I'm
there are
only
other
allowed
costs,
2 or 3.
right? So if it's in Atlantic
So-
City, like the cops or whoever
Yeah,
goes
that's-
wherever, then you're paying overnight, and you're paying whatever else. So there is a
Part of- part of
cost
the
to it,
training.
so it's not just $148.
No, I think we
It's
all
a larger
understand.
incremental cost.
Yeah, I think we all understand that.
Well, I don't think everybody did understand that, but.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yes,
All right, appreciate it.
so we're good with that,
So I can pay the bill?
yes.
I'm done with my pins from the last meeting. Did I miss anything?
And I just wanna, so page 75, which is the principal on notes.
Oh, page sorry, no.
Page 75. Yes, sir. No, principal on notes. It's actually one line.
Right, yeah.
It's only one item.
45,925.
Yeah, so, right, so, we were paying, so I think the comment that was made last time is that the 592,320 pays down this note,
The balance of the note,
pays the balance of the note.
correct.
And,
That's what's left on the note.
okay, and if we just paid the 374,520, or whatever we have to
The
pay.
balance is 74,520 that we have to pay. That's the required,
That's the requirement.
the required pay down.
We have to pay
74.
374,520. Oh,
74,520.
That's what we have to pay.
Mhm.
Okay. If we carry it, obviously there's interest on it.
Well, we have to go
We have
out
to
for
go out.
notes. So that would be in August.
So these
Okay.
expire, like this expired, this.
Because they're only
You
good for,
you have a certain amount of
for 1
period
year.
that you have to pay it by, and after that period, then you have to go out for
We have to refinance, like,
then bonds.
same concept.
And this is the balance of the paying off of the ladder truck.
So we didn't agree to whether we were going to
Right. that's what I
retire
thought.
all of that.
Excuse me?
We didn't have a discussion and come to an agreement as to, because we wanted to see what else we had to explore with capital, which is today's meeting.
Mhm.
So we didn't, I don't think there was a consensus on that we wanna
Correct.
Well, I would pay all that.
pay that whole balance down.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, that's what he's saying, like, that was still, that had a pin in it.
Thank you, Nancy. You said it
I'm
more
sorry, I don't
eloquent.
like to speak.
No,
didn't have a
no, I
pin.
appreciate it.
You have a pin?
I had I said notes, and I figured it was, cause Mike Ivy asked about the interest rate, so I did put the interest rate 4.35. So I guess I didn't take as good notes as I should have.
That's what the industry
That's,
is.
I remember the
Yes.
discussion.
Yeah, 4.35.
Yes,
That's the interest rate for.
currently, on the
The
notes.
current interest
Okay.
rate. Do we know what the notes, what?
I did look it up, and it fluctuates. I think the recent notes, it was between 4.5, and I think one was 6, and I don't know if they're just, hard to, they might have a lower reading.
When is that due?
August.
In my opinion, and what I've done since I've been mayor, is try to get the borough down to no debt.
Mhm.
And, that would kind of be going against what I would like to see and do. The budget is not right now, here and now, it's 3-5 years down the road, if not longer. I think this will put the borough in a very good spot. We only have, our bonds only have one bond left, to pay off in 10 years, after next year, I believe it is, if that's correct. Or to prolong that, we've been very fortunate here at Morris Plains to be able to pay that $1.5 million fire truck down. Yeah, down, we've paid for it, right, without incurring any more debt. To prolong that, I think is a mistake. We haven't had years like this where we've got, COVID money, we've got building department money. The borough was able to do this, thankfully, and to hold up the paying off with another piece of equipment or a note, when you're gonna add more in there, then you're gonna add another fire truck in there. I think we would.
Yeah, that's what's on the capital for today.
We haven't discussed the.
No, I know, but I'm saying,
projects yet.
I think that's on the table.
Well, that's actually
You're
another
not
thing.
gonna have a year like you've had with the building and all that other stuff that's been going on, so.
It's actually a thing another pin I had, we only had 875,000 for capital improvement, but based on the sheet that Anna just gave us, it looks like it's way more than that.
Mhm.
So,
So-
that's a
We can
discussion
do some
down.
Yeah, but
Well, we're going to the
It's on the-
capital, like, yeah, so the first ordinance, this ordinance was already, approved and we did a bond ordinance, so we already did 5% of,
Okay,
you
so,
know,
yeah, so I'll
and
need
then
to obviously go through and understand it, but,
if you look at, the section down payment on improvements, which is, you know, page 80, the backup that I have there was the open, ordinances. So you'll see that, 905 of that total street project is still,
I get you.
unfunded.
Okay, understood.
So even with the payment of the current note of $592,320,
Mhm.
we still have ordinance 1-24 with unfunded amount, and the new ordinance for this year, 2-25, with 905,000. So we have unfunded amount of 1.5 million.
And those are just based on roads, those are.
Those are two,
Just-
yeah, those are roads. We've been paying down, so we have been, you know, aggressive about paying down. And in this budget as well is, an appropriation of an additional 561 to pay down ordinance number 1-23. And make that fully funded.
No, I see. Okay, that's a good thing.
So so we're looking at, in 1 year, we're looking to pay off the 561 and
The 592.
the 592.
In this current budget right now, it's 1.1 million paying down. Now, if we wanted to do, like you were saying, the minimum, that 74.5,
I don't think we're saying minimum.
No, but you,
Right.
Not
but
with
from my knowledge, you were telling me what the minimum was.
I was just
which
saying, well, that
appreciate.
is the
Yes.
minimum.
Right, and I appreciate that.
but then that would put us at unfunded amount of a little over 2 million. I don't know if we wanna discuss capital and then go
Yeah.
back.
Do we see where we net out with capital?
Yeah, we'll do it. Good.
So I gave everybody, we'll talk about capital before revenues. I gave everybody this sheet, this front sheet. These are the proposed capital budgets from, the departments. The first two are roads. And again, those roads, we already did ordinances for, I did a temporary capital budget. And then we did, the ordinance,
And these were carried in, what, 123? No, Which ordinance was that for?
Well, the first one was, ordinance, I believe it's 1-25. I think they were the first and the second one, or maybe 2-25.
Yeah, it's probably two, maybe something like that.
Oh, 2-25 is the 953,000, and then 3-25 is the improvement to Styles Avenue. Now, the amount that's on there for the improvements to Styles Avenue, this is after the grant that we're anticipating getting from DOT, and after, partial payment as well, because it's a shared service with,
From the water authority.
yes.
We had to do that one this year because of the agreement that we had with the water company, but that's not gonna be paid until 2026. It has to go out to bid this year, all that kind of stuff, this year. I think by November, if I'm not mistaken. Because of the grant, the timing of the grant.
We paid more than 2026 or something.
But we have to set aside the funding this year.
Because the grant only has a life, a shelf life of so long, so we have to.
By the grant
do it this year,
requirements.
even though it's.
Even though we're not paying it out.
So,
What was your, policy again about roads? How many, like these roads here that
So-
Cleveland,
So
it's every,
close to, they're all close to 20+ years old. Some of these that are half roads are just because of the water authority, and the gas company that went through and did only half a road. So instead of having to do half the road in 10 years and then another half in whatever, we've been trying to catch up with those projects doing the half roads so that when the road comes up in 20 years, you'll do the whole road, not just half of the road.
otherwise you look like,
Yeah, it looks like a jigsaw puzzle. This is the last year of that, this is, everything is, I believe everything now is caught up halfway, yeah.
So I'm looking at like,
Half road projects are all caught.
so that's why it's higher than the past 2 years. It's because we had that water work done and we don't wanna pave half a road. We don't wanna leave it half paved.
So, no, which road are you talking about?
Well, I'm just looking at the total for this year
Right,
for roads versus these,
so I'll use for an example, like Cleveland Avenue, right? It's probably not, and I don't know for 100%, that road is more than likely only paved half. Okay, so we try to do it in a short period of time so that when it comes up next, you pave the whole road, right? So
Yes.
we're not just paving roads. So all those roads are caught up there. That's public service, and water authority work. Mostly public service, gas work, doing all that time. So those will all be caught up. The Styles Avenue project and Glenbrook, we had to enter into a shared service agreement with the water authority because of, it's grants, right? So they're gonna do the work, we got the grants, they're gonna pay us for more, we pay our end, they pay us for their end. That's why you have Styles on here this year, which normally you do.
Yeah.
You already have a larger road, Glenbrook,
so
that.
you usually split it up, so you don't have large roads, two in one road.
Correct. We usually
Some
only
valleys
do
pretty
one
big.
large road, yeah, that's a problem. And then the gas company is gonna come up, the next couple of years, come up from grants into Sun Valley from gas. So hopefully they'll pay as far as they have to go. The whole road.
So we're not doing all of Sun Valley?
No.
Okay. But what, my point is, it's higher this year because of all
I
the
think
road
that
projects.
important above.
Yes,
That, the utility project,
correct.
okay. Cause it is higher, like
It
a
is
couple
higher,
100,000,
yeah.
yeah.
you're looking at the improvements from 440 class and back, or isn't it?
I'm looking at this expense for 2025, and then the other, the open, ordinances here, like,
Usually there's 600 to 700 in roads.
yeah.
We try to keep that number.
These other ones are-
But it's nine this year, it's like
This is
300.
fine.
Improvements for various roads, they are
Right.
not as high, like typically. That's all, I was just making that,
Yeah, and I'm
trying to
just,
understand it.
you know, you said, so just looking at your sheet, maybe the sheet's out there, but 220, on your backup sheet, ordinance 2-25, says 905,350. But what we're seeing here on the capital project sheet, it's 953, is that?
Because I put it down, so we're required from the capital improvement fund to put, 5% down.
Got it.
So we're not gonna, that's not unfunded, that part
Got it.
is funded.
Got it, okay.
And that
Understood.
amount
Thank
was
you.
47,650.
And that's how you get the difference,
Yeah.
got it, okay, understood, thank you for explaining that.
So then the next project is DPW. So I'm looking at the lockers, but I think we have money in buildings and grounds for that. I don't know, if, we want to move that out of capital.
Yeah, I don't think that's capital.
We can-
Buildings and grounds, facility maintenance.
And there's enough in there, I believe, for those lockers.
So I'll take that out. My opinion with the flusher truck, he's asked that for a couple of years. We put about $12,000 or $15,000 into it a few years back, 3 years or so, fish maybe. It is getting to its life. Morris Township uses it once in a while. We don't use it certainly every day, a couple of times a month probably we use it. Sometimes during the year more than others. But again, I think that this is something that we could, if something were to happen, you have the county, you have Morris County, you have Morris Township, which they also share their flusher trucks with, and we share ours with them as well, so. That expenditure, in my opinion, either be pushed down the road or done with shared service.
So it's just,
Cause I know nothing about anything DPW, so what is a flusher truck?
You can flush out the storm drains or
Okay.
the sewer bins.
Okay.
So if there's a clog somewhere or.
It's like a big pressure water.
big power
Yeah,
wash.
they jet, they jet whatever, the clog,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay,
It is like 30 years old, but
Right.
they've been,
Oh, it is,
been
okay.
maintaining it.
Yeah.
okay.
The truck's 20 years old, they
Okay.
use it to flush the sewer lines, if the sewer lines back up, it creates a hazardous waste cleanup, which can be costly.
Okay.
They clean up catch basins in town, the state, you might know more if it's under, but, there's a new stormwater act regulation coming out, so they will need to flush more often, so.
Okay.
So it's gonna get somewhere.
I'm not saying it has to be done this year, but
Yeah.
they're saying this thing's just on Band-Aid, it's not like the town pool. So he said it should be considered,
He's been asking for it for the past couple of years.
The good thing is that we're in
This
jam.
is just happens to be a heavy year for projects, so.
Yeah,
Let them grow.
it can be pushed off for at least another year.
Is there, because it's a vehicle, we can't split the cost over a couple of years, right? It has to be all at once.
So I'm just looking at this budget project and this $3.7 million. I don't think that's feasible this year. If somebody's
Okay.
other things they can have.
No, no,
That's
Yeah, I think
not
that's
the
the
question.
principle.
It's not my
It's
question.
possible.
That's not my question, my question
It is
was,
possible.
if we wanted to say,
Just
if we
earmark.
agreed to, earmark, say, I don't know, a quarter of it this year,
Yep.
can we do that over 4 years?
You'd have to budget the whole thing and then add it into the budget, correct?
We would do a bond ordinance,
Mm.
so where we put 5% down from capital improvement fund towards it, and then we could fund it in the future.
Similar to how we do fire trucks, right? In the same,
Well, and then some of that, if we spend it, we have to go out for notes or bonds,
Mhm.
depending on what it is, but without spending the money, as long as we're,
but that allows us to get the, and I'm not saying we do it, I'm just asking, so I know, right? But that allows us to get the vehicle and then pay it off over time.
yes,
Similar to what we do with
we're
fire.
we're
It's out of
incurring
debt.
debt.
It's debt.
No, I understand that, but, okay.
So Mike has a thought. You mentioned to me that there are grants available for certain,
Oh, yeah.
not feasible?
No, I think we need to look into it. Wait, I don't think we need to do this year. Next year, I think we can probably look into it. But even with the shared services, might still be
Yeah, I mean,
cheaper than what we have got.
correct.
Well, do we wanna look at the other two items?
Yeah.
2026 and 2027, DPW does have, in 2026, they're looking for a hook lift dump truck with attachments.
Wait a minute, do we have that page?
No, so what I'm saying is, so if we're not doing the
They have
flusher
a
truck
5-year outlay.
for 700,000, maybe we can do what they're looking for in 2026, and then we have more room for the flusher truck in 2026.
Well, I would say before, to Jason's point, we're at 3.6 million, so before we replace it, let's go through what we have in front of us, and then if we come back, my
Yeah,
suggestion.
I think Anne's just saying what's projected, because you might know, so some departments will say, hey, in 5 years, I want a new loader, the high end, the bigger cost. So one of them is like a crane, I guess, on the back of it.
Okay.
No, it's a hook lift, so they can put different bodies on the back of this.
Oh,
So-
like, very good,
Yeah.
I guess,
Like my kids
I was
got,
looking
it's a
for
dumpster,
this
it's a dump
fire.
That's all I
truck,
buy.
flatbed,
Yeah.
you got them, his house got them.
Yeah,
Quick and release hook.
what else is there?
I don't have that list.
Sorry.
So we
Yeah,
did
no,
that,
this was just
Oh,
to-
no.
we did that last year, again, we moved the project up from this year up till
in other words, he has,
previous year.
in the following years, he has something for 2026 and then something for 2027. So if you can't get the flusher truck, my question is, do we swap priorities and say, let's get something from one of his wish lists from the future year that he's gonna need, we get it now in this year, and then we push off the flusher truck to next year.
What are the costs?
20 grand.
I think you have the same copy. You do.
A lot of paper in it. It's been a long week.
Yeah,
You got water fountain.
You were just reading it.
Wait.
You were just reading it. You were reading about the races.
No, those were his notes from.
Oh, this is from John.
Yeah, that's
John,
it.
that's John's email. I just printed his email. But yeah, okay.
Oh, that's.
No, it's good. I didn't have that. There is a line on there. You got good eyes. Those glasses do work.
He told me he gave it to you, that's why.
Yeah, thank you.
Probably $1.
No, about 110, the lift this up is 30 grand. And you get a truck for 50, 60, 70, depending what you want on it, spot count and all that. So by the time you're done with tax and everything.
Yeah.
And the body's
But
about,
fine.
Finding our back of vehicles, which is not my
You
thing,
get to
so
buy,
you guys know.
depending, you get a
Yeah.
low one, a high one, I mean, I got a side,
They all seem to last too short.
it opens up the back and the side. I can load them up
Depreciate by 50%, so you drive them
for
all.
cost, depending where they're parked.
Sal, what do we think? Can we pick up one of those other trucks? This year's bad, right?
I wouldn't do anything. They moved the project up this year, they just got the leaf, the lawnmower, I think, that was from last year, but we had purchased it at the end of last year for this year, so that was this year's
It
project.
came out of this
really.
year.
It was on their wish
Everything's
list
gonna keep
this
getting
year.
pushed, that's the problem, right? Next year we could add it,
Yeah, of course.
You can't do everything in this year, so.
No, I'm saying, we do it next year, I'll get it next year. The season can get kicked down the road many times.
Are we leaving it in, are we taking it out, or are we moving on?
Well, we're taking the flusher truck out, I think, so we agreed. The question was, do we wanna pick up one of these other items instead? That's at a
I
lower
would
price
see how
point.
we look at the end first.
Okay. Let's
He
do
price
that.
stagger based on the life of his vehicles, so he probably doesn't need those ones yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a new rule for that.
Right.
Okay, so item number 3 is the fire department. So they're asking, for a slew of things. I was looking at, our prior ordinances and the amounts of, the funds that we have still left in some of these ordinances. As far as, like turnout gear, he has requested that from, last year in one of our ordinances, he asked for 65,000 in turnout gear. In 2024, he only spent 31,500. So there's 30,000 left in that ordinance for turnout gear.
So that's covered.
Do you know which ordinance that was?
That's 4-24.
So
What's the balance?
so the
35?
18.5 is
No, wait a
covered.
minute, Anna, 1/2019.
Well, I went down to turnout gear first.
Wait, so what's the balance on
Oh,
that
I'm sorry,
ordinance?
I'm sorry.
35?
Well, he requested 65,
Right.
he only spent 31,500.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's so you get the balance, and that would potentially cover the turnout.
The 18.5, right?
Yeah, so that's.
Okay, yeah, he said that was very
26.
important.
Something like 26.
Is that right?
What's up, sir?
26.5?
Something like 26.
What's 4,000?
So So we're good with that, so we can cross that off here?
We can cross out that.
Oh, yeah,
So-
gotta have it, yeah.
No, the turnout gear is
Yeah.
only 18,500.
Yeah,
Right.
so we can cross
Yeah.
that
Right.
request.
Right,
ones
because we
are
have
okay.
money in
Covered,
another.
and we still, and we'll still have money left
For-
from that,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Lighter.
Yeah,
Just did it.
Yeah, but it depends on what's in that ordinance, Bill, so
We have.
it may say radios, it may
For the
say
turnout,
turnout
yeah.
gear.
That's what I'm
but-
saying.
Okay.
Right, that's why I asked what ordinance it was, so we
Super
can look at
necessary,
it.
yeah.
All right,
Okay?
what else?
So the first, the Scott PSI carbon cylinders breathing apparatus, so we have funds in ordinance 1-19.
Okay, how much do we
So
have?
in ordinance 1-19, that's
This one's covered.
the fire truck.
Okay,
So we did have a balance of 110,000 left in there.
okay. 110,000
Right.
left, and then we're saying we can use 20, we can cover the breathing apparatus, but
We
then.
can use it for that?
So the ordinance says, that it's for the fire truck, but it's also for equipment, right?
Okay.
So the problem, it's not a problem, but if we fully fund that ordinance in this year's budget,
Mhm.
and it's fully funded, then I don't have an issue with using it for fire department equipment. If it's not fully funded and we go out for notes, the underwriters have, an issue with the life of the project. So currently, fire trucks are, whether it's 20 years or 19 years, yeah, carbon cylinders are 5, right? So now you're kind of
Devaluing
devaluing the
the
notes.
project, yeah.
And if you have to go out for bonds, then, you know, it does become an issue. Even though it does say in the ordinance that it's for fire equipment, meaning that it's for the truck.
When you say fully funded, what does that mean we have to do?
Well, currently in the budget, it's that 592 that will fully fund the project. Once, you know, that's paid, and there's no more on it, and
Okay, so we wanna add this 110,000 to that. We wanna make sure of that 592 that we looked at, we definitely include this 110.
No, not the whole thing, just,
no, the 592 is already, will
Inclusive
make it
of that.
funded. So then we have 110 unspent money.
In addition to the five.
Agreed.
Well, no, from,
no,
it's
It's
not
in
in
it, it's
addition,
included
so the actual
It's unencumbered,
bond ordinance
Okay.
is
Not
one
encumbered.
point four million.
right.
Okay.
So they loan you 1.4 million, you spent 1.3, you have 100 left, but you still
Unencumbered.
owe on the 1.4.
We basically paying
So you
110
pay
back that
that.
we didn't use,
Right,
that was in our Harrison's.
correct.
So do we wanna pay it back or keep in use
And
it?
this is the whole
Well,
cold
we could
storage
use it
conversation.
to fund some of these
Most
fire
of these
department
things,
things,
right.
right.
but not the
That's what
whole
you want to sign.
110, so whatever this one is, 20,000.
Well, this
Okay,
one
understood.
20,
Okay.
right.
20,000 off of the 110 or whatever it
Right.
is, that's what we use it.
Well, but maybe we could check off some of these other
Well, we
boxes
did.
with it.
Right, some of these other ones, you know, the mini pumper upgrades.
But my question is though, do we have to fully fund the whole 592 or just this 110 piece of it?
No, the whole
Sorry.
592.
So the
The
five
five
ninety-two
ninety-two is our debt,
it's a debt we have
Yes.
to pay.
right?
That's what
We
Jason
have
wants to
110 left over in funds.
Okay, got it. Sorry, Jason.
No, 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 no. I'm glad you're on
It's
it.
all the
year's
different
budget
lines,
will
where are
be-
they?
I'm glad you're right.
Where are they on the spreadsheet?
Well, we will.
We'll all know about it, so.
It says if a bank loans you money and you have the 100,000 in your bank account, you can spend it, you know, but you still have to pay back the 600,000 because, you know, you spent 5 already.
Mhm.
That's what,
Because that, you understand that 592, that's what we talked about
Yep.
earlier.
I know that.
If we pay, Jason wants to pay it off, we said, well, let's look at everything else.
Yep.
And it's saying, if we do pay it off, well, 110 is unallocated, and we kind of left over, that we could apply to this.
Right.
Even if we pay the full thing.
But if we
Right.
don't pay it
No,
off,
then
We
you're
don't
gonna
fully,
sure debt.
we don't pay this whole balance, then we don't have this extra.
well,
what we do with.
no, we still have the 110, but what I'm saying is
We're
that
hamstrung to that goal.
the ordinance states that it's for equipment
Right, we have to use.
Or the
and the
fire.
fire truck. My concern is devaluing what's being
Transferred to a new.
notes or bonded, because right now their notes are saying it's for a fire truck, which is a useful life of 20 years.
Yeah,
you know, if you're gonna be spending it on something that's not a useful life for 20 years, you wanna fully fund it.
Right.
So Anna, what's your suggestion then,
They
based on
wanna
that?
fund it. They wanna pay the $592 down.
Right.
You haven't gotten the five.
Right,
yet.
okay.
That's where we're going.
But we can do it, and what happens, like, is there a red flag that gets thrown up? You
No,
said
because
you're worried,
funding it.
you're worried about something, so.
No, I'm
what you're
not,
worried about.
well,
Like, who?
I would be hesitant to use this 100,000 that's left over on anything that hasn't.
But I understand that, but
useful
why,
life.
what's the problem, would you get slapped on the knuckles by a teacher, like, what happens?
No, if we don't, when we go out for notes, we're not gonna get 4.5%, we'll get 6.
That's the risk.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, where's the,
Cause it's, the
what's the
other
end
riders
game?
are gonna look at it and go, well, you spent it on things that, you know, so.
That's the risk. Okay, but it's not a guarantee, it's a calculated risk.
Well,
With
They
a high
will do
probability of occurring.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Right, okay. All right. What else?
So
Um,
which of these projects were you thinking we would check off with that 110 balance? The first one?
the first one, the mini pumper upgrades,
Okay.
The radio.
a new radio for the mini pumper, right? The battery electric fans. And then,
Monitors.
the mercury quick attack monitors and the thermal imaging cameras. That would be a total of 81,800.
All
How
under,
much, 81,000?
800,
all under ordinance 119.
Except for that for 2024.
Yeah, the 10 portable two-way radios, that's not covered under it, right?
no, the turnout gear,
The
it's
turnout gear is
4-24.
Oh, so everything else here,
No,
The 10
the-
portable two-way radios are not included, right?
That's not included, and then the truck, the new truck.
the fire. Yeah. So those are the only two that are potentially not covered under ordinance.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
I say you fund the radios. And we'll talk about the truck.
Just the radios out of those projects?
No, everything else is accounted for.
Oh, you're saying the 32,000 for the 10 portable two-way?
Yeah,
radios.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be something that you would add to the capital budget. That's not funded.
Yeah, fine.
That's a fire truck.
All right, well, let's keep going because we want to see what else we're
The same thing.
excluding by.
Oh, no, the turnout there was the 424, sorry.
What about the engine? Are we gonna talk about that?
That's what I'm saying, fire truck.
Do you wanna
That's
put
not
that in?
My opinion, by the time this vehicle, if they order it tomorrow,
3
they
years.
told you that it's 3 years, it's a 27 or 26-year-old vehicle now. By the time it comes, it's gonna be a 30-year-old vehicle, so. That's something, in my opinion, that should be undertook now. And take it undertook over what it is now. Wouldn't pay for it all this year, we'd pay for it over a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, fund it, and hopefully pay for that as we go.
Well,
It's
fund
still like
it with notes.
25, 30 years for
You're
the
saying
truck.
notes?
There's in there a law or
In
something.
the
I don't
budget
know.
next year, yeah.
National Fire Programs, NFPA recommendation is 30 years.
30.
So you do that right.
Use it for-
What happens with the is it the insurance at 30 years, they don't cover the vehicles anymore, or what happens with the
First of all,
30
you
year?
start not being able to get parts,
Right,
so that's probably another thing. Second of all, yeah, your rating does go down, I guess, because it doesn't pump, say 1,500, it's supposed to be rated out, and it only does 1,200.
So like homeowners insurance,
Business
fire
insurance.
insurance, business insurance will go up because we have less modern equipment,
But what our capability
less
is
reliable, less.
less. But it's a pretty old piece of equipment.
what's our standard, timeframe for these
A
vehicles?
lot of it's 27.
That's when
You try to get 20.
I think we've been
Funded
pushing,
it.
we've been pushing it.
It's close to 30.
We've been pushing on.
Seeger was a 93. And yeah, I think that's a 27.
Yeah, it's 27 when you get this one.
What capital number are we trying to stay under?
So I could tell you what we've, since 2019, and that was the year we bought this fire truck, that was $2.3 million.
Okay,
2020 was 1.2. 2021 was 1.1. 2022 was 1.6. 2023 was 1.4. 2024 was 1.6.
okay, thank you.
So
That's
now
helpful.
with the fire truck, it's
It's pretty good, but, yeah. Okay, thank you, Jason, that helps.
So I would let me know ballpark.
I mean,
I know it's gonna be over, but,
we're already at
Okay.
1,150,000 with the roads, right?
Yeah.
So, if you look at 2024, we're at that just with our road projects this year.
Close, yeah, 6 to 1 million.
I mean, the engine 4 alone will put us up for previous years, so. So are we suggesting that engine 4 can get pushed off? Is that,
My question is, since the road projects are so high this year, is this the right year to do that?
The last.
No, the roads are already
Right.
committed.
You're talking about the truck?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it over 3 years, so we're just putting like a little seed down, right?
Well, she's saying to,
yeah, but we'll be able to fund it,
Yeah.
we'll be able to fund it next year, the year after, or for those, whatever.
It won't show up this year. Right, you're saying, you know, we're
Oh,
Yeah.
5%.
5%.
5%.
No, but we're including it and trying to get under these numbers here. This 2.3 was our last time we
Right, but
bought the
if you're
truck.
not using it, it's just hanging out there, you're not funding it, right, so until you fund it.
This year we just lay out like $60,000 in deposit.
Right.
Probably
5%.
5%.
this is 5%
About
of
60
total.
grand.
My point is, those numbers you just read off are the other years that we're comparing this year to, right? And we wanna try to stay within those numbers.
I'm just giving you a reference point.
Right.
It's-
But we already know we're at half, more than
Right.
half of that with just our road
So when we
projects.
bought the $1.5 million fire truck in 2019, we were 2.3 million.
Right, I know, I got that.
And it, so that was $1 million, yeah, whatever, that's an extra money. I understand what you're saying, but I would not wait to look at this truck myself.
Oh, would the entire 1.4 go into this year?
No.
No,
So he's
50
saying-
grand.
right, so that's
Well,
different.
5% of 1.4 is 70,000.
70,000.
That's-
Yeah.
Doable.
And you know it's getting late when you 5 times 14. You know it's getting late.
Friday, Sal, so.
The other thing is tariffs, tariffs.
Right, they can make the cost go up.
So, we're over a barrel now, I mean, we have to.
Everything in aluminum is gonna go up, and that fire truck's all aluminum, right?
Made in America.
Yeah, but who knows what's gonna happen 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, we don't know. But I wouldn't wanna push another, I wouldn't wanna push it yet, but this apparatus has to.
Right, but what we're saying is, we don't have to carry the 1.4 million, we could do 70,000, and that brings our total down by.
And then next year, if you have a good year, you can put $1 million,
That's a
you can
huge
600,
No, but
whatever.
the 1.4 stays in this capital budget though.
Yes,
We can't make this number 70,000.
no,
This number stays 1.4.
just like the
It's
roads
just
for
that,
the
whatever
nine-
the total
five-
we come up with in
553.
capital year, we have to fund 5%, so that's where the 70,000 comes in. This total is this total, so that's why I was looking at this year being heavy on roads, do we wanna be heavy on a piece of equipment too? That was like my only question, but, you know, if we're
Yeah,
trying to
because-
stay within the 30 years and we wanna pay it off in 3 years, then we're kind of like,
I mean, that's the
This is
goal,
it.
I don't know whether you'll get this one in 3 years, because we don't have, I don't anticipate a lot of stuff coming in like we have in the past 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right? Building revenue,
yeah.
ARP money, all that stuff that we were
And-
able to pay down our debt, buy some
Yeah.
stuff when we were able to,
Three
right?
years is
All the
massive.
aluminum's coming from Canada, right? 25%, because 1.4, I don't think is very
I don't
accurate
know.
anymore.
Yeah, whatever, but I don't think that,
The whole truck is aluminum.
what did they say, it's going up every 6 months,
8% a year, 2% a quarter.
Before the tariffs.
Yeah.
So that's logical now to get
I'm sitting
it. Not gonna get that.
Some bodies, aluminum, but the frame, steel, and,
But the whole body, the most weight of it is
It's not a lot.
all the cabinets,
No,
all
it's
the.
an engine.
It's like,
right?
Yeah.
All right.
So the question, I guess, is whether or not we do that 1.4 million this year or next year? Or some other year.
1.4 next year.
I say we do it this year to get the ball rolling.
So then we're already at what, 2.5 for capital this year?
But you're not, you're not 1.4, so.
Yeah, you're committing to it, but you're paying it off.
You're paying,
Okay,
So it's not one.
yeah, I'm learning, I mean, okay,
more-
that makes,
It's
Right
more
now,
of a
it's just-
symbol
it's just
than
a
a
70%
real
down
number.
payment.
Right.
More symbolic.
and ask her.
Trying to
Yeah.
speak
Right.
the language.
Yeah, but you know it's coming, right? You know the 1.4 is coming. Yeah, so.
And it has to, because the truck will be 30 years old in 4 years.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just
Oh,
saying,
to the
don't,
seventy.
You can't.
this one
Right.
here, you don't look at as you're paying it this year.
Right.
This is one of those two pieces.
Right.
And if anything, we should
But
have
to
this
hit the
in the
ball rolling.
last 10 years. There should be. a
It's in their
Okay.
5-year, 10-year plan that he gave us.
All right, let's
We're
move
not
on.
Okay.
And the next one is, fire prevention, so he's looking for a new vehicle and upgrades. The vehicle, he gave us quotes for $51,429, another one was $54,029.
For what kind of vehicle?
This is gonna be for, Ford Explorer,
So this would replace the car that he got from the PD?
no?
No.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we'll let keep that for like other inspectors.
No, the
He
charger
said, our
is different.
proposal is to purchase a new Ford Explorer SUV to take the load off of this current vehicle and will be used much less by our 2 per diem fire inspectors. At this time, we do not want to eliminate the 2015 Charger, just step it down from the everyday use that it is seeing now. Our inspectors are at times still using the personal vehicles when 2 or 3 of us are out conducting inspections at the same time. Also, I can be used to transport fire personnel to events and training if needed, since it will not be considered a frontline response vehicle. A new SUV will be able to carry the much-needed equipment and supplies that is used each and every day, carrying out inspections and responding to emergencies.
Chief, when you have any vehicles available.
The vehicle itself is it could be up to 54,000, then the equipment, the fee proposed for that is over 28,000, which brings us to 82,300.
My opinion is you push this one off, mine needs another vehicle, move people around. It's $58,000 for a police car, right? So it's the same Explorer, you don't need anything special. My opinion, I think you can push this one off.
I agree.
That vehicle.
And I think going full-time was, there were supposed to be fewer other inspectors needed
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
I tend to agree that we only need the one right now.
The only thing I'm gonna say is we've always got hand-me-downs for the police department, which we're very grateful for, that they're complaining, but we did get a new chief's vehicle, the pickup truck.
Yep.
But we've always gotten 100,000-mile vehicles, so.
Well, the other fire charger, the Expedition, you know.
The young one?
No, the Expedition, what's the name?
Russian?
No, the other one.
Dallas?
Mark, Dallas?
That was good, right?
No, let's say that.
No, that's the black one that Bobby drives, the Expedition.
I
I
thought
think I
Chief
will
two-
transit.
White Lightning is.
Chief 2 and Chief 3.
That was theirs?
We told you the vehicle was a pickup truck.
That's,
But I'm just saying, I agree, I don't think we need to do it, but I think, you know, we're fine getting hand-me-downs, that's what we've got.
They're getting $1.5 million fire truck.
But that's a different type of vehicle, like, you know, I know fire department, but that's a different vehicle.
And look at all the stuff we gave them here.
well,
I'm not complaining, I'm just stating
So
facts.
my question would be, is this a must? I'm gonna ask the question, but I kinda know the answer, I'm just gonna put it out there to ask it, right? Is this a must-have because the vehicle they have now doesn't meet the needs that they have? Or is this a nice-to-have because it would help them out?
Well, the superintendent wrote a letter saying how bad that vehicle was and how we shouldn't accept it and the fire department, and it should be never given to anybody. But we
Okay.
voted on it, I'm just saying,
Okay.
that's documented in our minutes.
That was when he was part-time and didn't have a vehicle at all, and he was grateful to have it. So we gave
And we restricted what they could invest in it, like, you know, like
it's
one
not
spark
worth.
plug a year, it was like very limited on
We're
what.
talking about the charger we use, right?
Yeah, it's not
It was
worth.
very, very awkward.
It's not a first response vehicle, even though it's being used for that, it's not, it's an inspector
That wasn't the
vehicle,
intent.
right? That's not the intent.
You can have a
That
piece
thing,
of it.
that thing looks better now than when we got it from police department.
I'm just saying,
No
So,
offense.
so the question.
I know, I'll tell him, Chris keeps those vehicles, I don't care what,
Yes, he does.
beautiful.
So to your point there,
all fire, all fire trucks,
what'd you say?
I said, all fire,
Chris is
all our
special.
fire trucks nice.
Chris especially.
That's true.
So my question is, right, it's based on what you just said, and I wasn't, and it's documented in ordinance and minutes
It
and
was
all
a
that,
handwritten letter.
right? So
in
So,
Graham.
so based on that information, right, what is are we kinda just waiting until that thing dies?
Pretty much.
And then we're gonna be like, he's gonna be out of vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what could happen, that vehicle's older, I don't know the miles, you know, I don't know the exact number.
To give you a little
Year,
history,
make, or model, or.
we were gonna junk the vehicle,
yeah,
and then, for some reason, the thing looks like the nicest vehicle in the whole fleet.
I get it, but mechanically, it doesn't
Right.
sound like
But
it's.
if something happened,
Yeah.
you know,
I asked, I mean, I talked to Chris over a year ago, I said,
The-
how's it
the
running?
problem
It
was
was
the
beautiful.
transmission.
Yeah, you talk about parts availability,
Yeah.
chargers are found everywhere, and you find that heavily with you.
but if something does happen, they have the utility truck to use, right? They have the other chief, there's 3 other chief's
Well, they-
vehicles that he could potentially use, that sit around, Kevin sits around all day, right?
Utility truck, a lot of equipment. it's-
Can I say
Building
something?
department.
Morris Township did an inspection on 2 of my buildings, they came with fire truck inspectors, they didn't have any vehicles. I couldn't believe it,
Well,
a fire truck of
The problem with
50,
that
50
is
foot.
there's not a lockable cabinet for utilities, so if somebody was to take some of us,
Oh, yeah,
well,
it's
so it's a wider vehicle which impedes traffic.
But also, isn't township a paid department?
Yeah.
We're not, so we can't, you gotta get.
No, but I'm saying, they don't even have a vehicle, the paid department, they came with a fire truck, I'm like, "Whoa, there's no fire, that's what they gave us to do inspections, oh my god.
No, I get it, so, I guess the reason I was asking the question is because if the vehicle, it might look nice, right, but if mechanically, the vehicle is like on its last legs and it, then why are they gonna, if we do it now, we're doing kind of preventative maintenance, right? We're getting something ahead of the game, or we wait till it dies and then we have to go make a decision at that point.
Fire vehicle rental does.
Yeah, so if is a $55,000 for Explorer necessary, or can we go with a cheaper version, or an EV that we get for $30K? A Mach-E with the.
Especially with local travel, a little town like this.
Most emergency services.
I wouldn't do it.
Well, we don't have a charger.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Let's,
do it.
let's,
Chief, can you give us anything about electrical vehicles, your thoughts real quick?
He's got a hybrid, not electric.
I can't charge
He hates
it.
electric.
I can't charge it.
He hates
Well, they
electric.
don't have a charging station either.
No, I wouldn't do it.
So,
Most of it.
let Mike talk about it
Yeah,
for a second. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was saying, you can get them for, the
What do you mean?
Mach-E's are being used in New York City.
Which ones?
The Ford Mach-E, the Mustang EV.
okay,
4 doors, wagon, hatchback, it's functional, especially if you're just driving around here.
Okay.
Level 2 charge is easy to install,
Okay.
so we just have to see what the 30K in upgrades for, but they're being fitted out all over the country.
What about battery?
100% electric?
Is there issues with batteries in cold weather though?
Yeah, they get cold, but if you're driving 10 miles around here, that's not a problem at all. You're not
Wow,
leaving
we
town.
can't
Yeah,
go to just
Your
a
point,
dealer.
most battery gets cold.
most emergency guys,
Yeah, well, we have we're
The only thing I would interject on the EVs is when we researched it for law enforcement use, you can't drill through the floorboard, you can't drill through the ceiling, so you can't attach, roof mounted lights. You can't drill through the
Yeah.
interior, so you can't, that's just what we learned from Tesla. I don't know about the mom.
Oh, yeah, that's
We're not mountain lights, we can't afford that, please go.
so,
I don't want them.
I would say we can probably wait another year and
Mountain
make it
Lakes.
work.
Mountain
with,
Lakes.
Really?
well, I think we should do due diligence, right? And work to see if there's other options out there that are maybe
It doesn't
less
have to be
costly.
EV, it doesn't have to be a six.
No, but less costly,
Yeah.
right?
They have the
Um,
Jeeps and they have the Jeep Cherokees that are on the state contract with the building department, they have things like that.
Yeah.
I would say,
$80,000 vehicle.
ask the
Well,
fire prevention chief what he needs in terms of
yeah,
equipment, not to say, oh, take them off, whatever, they can't.
Oh, I know, I wanna talk to
Can't
them
fit it here,
first,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying.
Bigger than the Charger. bigger than the Charger.
Yeah, I don't really know what equipment.
You see, it's a $54,000 vehicle and $28,000 in equipment,
Mhm.
right? So, I'm not questioning the equipment, I'm just questioning, right, the cost of the vehicle, right? Is there,
No, because it's the same thing as the police car, he's fully equipped at like 58,000-ish something.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The cage, the radios, the lights.
That's what I'm saying, right? If we reduce the cost of the vehicle,
I think there's two things here, there's his role as fire prevention with a lot of inspections, right? And then there's his role on the fire department, and he's trying to get a vehicle that is gonna do both.
Probably
right.
yeah.
Because he wants to respond and have everything he needs at the fire while he's working around town doing his inspections.
So,
So it's like another fire department vehicle, really, is what he's asking for.
we can debate that, but they wanna keep this car, if it's in such bad shape, why they don't wanna keep it, right? So, let's just keep working it.
well,
And we're something for next year, maybe.
what we don't want is responding to something that
Yeah.
vehicle breaks down, right? That'd be the worst part. So,
It's right down.
I know, but he's got backup vehicles.
You got Bobby Webster's vehicle, you got Mark Bell's.
Yeah, but if they're all on a call,
Right.
you've got
They
no
don't
other
take a
fire
chief
prevention
vehicle,
vehicles.
they can't go to a
Yeah,
fire call.
like you got, so,
I can't equip everybody all the time in a vehicle either, so. But I think it's something that you have to look into.
not what we're
Council
doing.
decides that.
That's
I
right.
say we find out what he really needs, and maybe look at it for next year, because this is a heavy year, and it's still running, so
Yeah, like I said, I think,
we can't do
let's
all
just,
this stuff.
let's just look at alternative options for the vehicle.
Yeah.
What's that?
You know, they put it in.
I don't really, I mean, I just know he's concerned about the
We're
car.
gonna push it
but
off to next year, is that the consensus?
Yeah.
I don't.
Vehicle breakdown of what it is?
Oh, and it has the equipment.
He might be. I can
Oh, yeah,
check
look.
with him, he might have.
That's from 30 grand, man?
Oh, that's new.
She's got it.
30
Okay,
grand?
if not, I,
30,000?
It went in.
The car, I don't know how much it costs. Oh, that's crazy, yeah, that's another one. You start with, start with, instead of 7, please start with 30. You're gonna cut it in half.
Is it like fire equipment?
Well,
Is it
spectrum,
like?
that's
If we're gonna push this off, let's keep going down the
I,
list.
I believe this is the equipment to outfit the,
is that this, are you looking at
vehicle
this?
with
Yeah.
lights.
Inspector.
I got it, yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I knew I had it, I just.
So it's all part of the new vehicle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
But the current one doesn't have all this. The Charger.
pretty much everything, so you have the radio out there, it has everything.
Okay.
Yeah, they just kinda gave us,
What's the total costing?
28, two.
For 754. Listen, I'm not questioning the equipment, I'm just saying, I think,
well, that goes with the car,
Oh,
the
so-
lights and sirens.
so if we got a different car,
Yeah,
the equipment
that
package.
doesn't come with the lights, yeah, like Spectrum.
Well,
Out the door, rolling.
So I guess, like Nancy said, maybe we should budget for next year, and that would be part of it.
so I think what we're saying is, let's push off the 823.
And how much
So
electric
that's-
one? 30?
Yeah, and see if we can find,
We have to compare apples to apples.
minimize the cost of the vehicle itself. if we
Right.
can, and-
Right, does that make sense?
Does it have 57 all done up?
I mean, something's gotta give, unfortunately, in the sense like,
Same thing. Yeah, so that's something.
Well, and I get that a fire truck and a fire prevention vehicle are two different things, but.
How many miles are on it?
Probably 300,000.
3?
Probably in the engine
With the 215,
No, on the,
Chris is,
On the Charger.
on the Charger.
on the one he has now, the
Yeah.
215, 108,000.
Yeah, the idle hours is probably 300,000.
Okay,
So this is 4's out.
see if we can get it for next year.
And then,
All these are out. Those are coming like 3 days. They spent all the money already.
he's got it.
Okay, sorry, Andy, go ahead, please,
So-
thank you.
we have, number 5, we have 4 items that the police department is looking for. Again, when I looked at some of our open ordinances, there was one item for the automatic license plate reader for 10,900. That's ordinance number 10-23. Now granted, the chief did spend all his money for the automatic license plate reader, but we still have some funds left over from other projects in that ordinance that came in lower.
Okay.
So right now we have 20,000 as of the end of, 2024, we have $20,000 left. We do have the planer that's still not
That's road
purchased.
department. That's the road department.
No, this 10,000,
No, the planer is.
no,
the
I know,
road
but
department.
out of that 20,000, we're still gonna earmark 2,500 towards the planer that's still not spent. So we still have money in this ordinance
Oh, gotcha.
for the 10,900.
No, that planer's gonna be more. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's not, it doesn't matter.
So it's 735 is what we have left.
After that.
For the sidewalk.
So of that 75, we can use some of that 75 to fund that, LPR.
Because in that ordinance was auto license plate readers for 25,000.
Okay.
Granted, he spent more than that, but, you know, some of the rotary clock was 2,000 less, you know.
Okay. So point is we have, we can cover
Yes.
that. Okay. All right, so that first up.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No,
No, that's it? Okay.
yeah. When I look at ordinances, like I said, the verbiage and the language in the ordinance is important,
Yeah.
which is what I was saying with the fire truck, you know, it said, you have to look at it and say, can you spend it because that's what it was appropriated for.
Okay.
So we are using the 17.5 on,
Yes, ALPR.
10-9 on the license.
10-9 of the 17.
Did we buy one already, this is our second one, or we haven't bought one yet?
The automatic license plate readers?
Yeah, that's two
We
already,
did
don't
spend
we?
money
Three we have.
back in 2023.
Right.
Yeah.
On the license plate reader,
Right.
this is our second or third one.
Fourth,
This would be number 4.
Okay. Right.
and that just tells you if they're stolen or not, right?
It does a whole host of things for us, investigative stuff.
But again, it ties in with, other police departments, right? So it's not just.
Our current system, right, and it ties in statewide.
Right, okay.
Like the camera,
So if there's like an Amber Alert or something like that. and it has the plate,
Missing
it lets it
person,
go.
you know, missing person down in
Wow.
Perth Amboy,
Right,
and drives through one of our gateways.
right. It picks it up and works.
And if it's not registered.
We do a whole host of things, like if we listed unregistered vehicles, it'd be a dime a dozen, we'd be every 5 minutes. But this is more, you know, stolen vehicles, stolen license plates, missing persons, missing endangered persons. And then after the fact, there's cameras on it that allow us to record back and say, oh, you know, we wanna see if ABC 123 came through this gateway because we had a theft or a burglary.
Mm.
We can track down the date, the time, even the passengers that were in the vehicle. Yeah, really cool stuff.
Okay. But what you're saying is it's covered under the ordinance, so it comes up.
Yes.
Okay.
But then we still have the other 3 items
Right.
still open.
So the speed alert, 24 radar, you just, what is that?
That's a,
It's a radar trailer and burial message board that would help us with our traffic enforcement, and then the borough, a year or 2 prior, had been desirous of getting another like small message board to alert for local community events. We could tow it out, you know, rabies clinic today, it would allow us to do certain things like that, small messages rather than towing them down from the county, so, I mean, it would tie in already with our other, speed sign that we have,
Mm-hmm.
same system.
Okay.
you've seen a lot of
And
people
the,
look ahead.
Yeah, is it like just like the orange lettering, or is it more? It's
Yeah,
not
the
like-
orange lettering, and it's not as large as the county variable message boards that you see out, you know, small messages and things like that, so.
Okay. And do we already have one, or this would be?
You know, this would be our first,
Okay. And,
and not, you know, just one of the things that it's a wish, not a want.
It's not a saying, it's a sign.
okay.
Yeah.
Because that's
This is
the-
it.
Oh, that's two? That's twice?
Well, right now, we do borrow the counties.
Yeah,
Well,
we
it's not
do
Central
county
Passion, so-
soundboards when we have to close for Spiegel Avenue for the Memorial Day Parade or larger construction projects, so we do shared services with the county.
It's hilarious. It's funny that you.
2 years
just
in a
mentioned
row,
that.
wow.
Alright.
What's that?
I spelled
Is
it
it
wrong.
Spelled sing that sign.
yeah, that's good.
Twice,
Keep everybody on their toes.
It's probably me, I probably misspelled it, you're just copying my work.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So the,
Another salesman.
so the AED replacement, is this just one AED or multiple?
No, that is 6 AEDs.
Okay.
There is a turn-in rate that we would save $1,800 if we turned in what we currently have, 5. My thought would be to, take what we have and give them to Little League for at the park, and the one at the community center I think is a little aged and.
I need one in signing.
Yeah, but weren't they looking at new ones?
Older than soccer, I
Who was looking?
The basketball for
Big.
the basketball.
I think Jerry was looking at-
over there.
getting a different one.
So chief, these are
Don't cover both.
replacements for ones that are aging?
Yeah, they're 25, 23 years old.
Okay, I thought you said that during.
And this is new technology that, right now we have to change pads,
Oh.
for infant versus adult
Right.
CPR. This has upgraded technology and is custom with, the current, shock rate that's medically approved. I mean,
It's functional.
Better than nothing.
they're functional.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it worth it? Or is it worth
I mean, the training value is $1,800 for 5
Just give it to them,
defibrillators,
hope for the
so
best.
it's not like you're cutting
No,
down
it's
the
not
cost
18,
on
it's not 18 each, it's.
new.
Oh.
Yep, I think the training value is $1,800, so if you wanted to put them at the snack stand at Simon's and,
Is it gonna cost us anything to get them up to snuff, or do you use them now?
we use them now, we currently use them.
How often do you use it in a year? Just-
Depending on how many people have a heart
I
attack.
know. but you do
I
it
ran the numbers, last year we probably applied them 40 or 50 times.
So, if you said, so this cost is 14,300, is the cost for all 6 of them, so it's roughly 2,300, $2,400 for you. That sounds right?
Yeah, about right.
Okay. And this would put a new one in each vehicle, is that,
Yes,
are you doing 6? Okay. Okay.
I'm not arguing with them though.
No, and then, so far, where I'm at anyway, is that the radar message sign is a nice to have, right? It sounds like the AEDs are a must have. And then the ALPR, we can fund through a cover under the ordinance, right? So now the big one is the headquarters feasibility study for $200,000.
So Anna, why don't you explain to them the option that you talked about?
So, the feasibility study, it wouldn't be an ordinance, it doesn't have a useful life of 5 years. What we normally would do a resolution that's approved by 2/3 of the council, and it has to be funded by, capital improvement fund. The whole thing would need to be funded in order to, pass the resolution. So that's option 1. The second option would be to, you know how much the project's gonna cost. We do the ordinance for the entire project first before we do the architect, and then that cost would come out from the ordinance.
Or it goes into the budget line in the budget. The tax line or something.
Right.
The what line?
You
The
can raise it
regular
in the
budget,
general
regular
fund.
in my conceptual plans line or the general fund?
Well, in your line,
Correct.
Doesn't matter
under
where
O
it goes.
Right.
whatever we wanna call it, yeah.
So you're saying the option 1 was it has to go in the operating budget?
No, it doesn't have to.
That's option 1.
That's one option.
One of the options.
One of the option is
I think
move
that's
it from capital, right, and fund it in the general budget.
It can't really be a capital project.
It can't be.
Not an ordinance.
Unless,
Well, it could be funded in the capital, but not as an ordinance.
Ordinance. A resolution that has to be fully funded.
unless we take the cost of the whole project
Yes.
as an ordinance and then fund this as part of it.
Correct.
Right.
Like
Later on.
if we were to know that the project was $13 million, we do an ordinance for $13 million, and then the ordinance, 5% down, look for future funding. Then we can hire whoever it is for this study to find out what the actual costs are gonna be, and then those costs can be, a certain amount of the ordinance can be expended towards those costs.
It sounds
How do
like,
we know the cost of the project if we don't do this
yeah, but
part
that's it,
first?
right, this is the step 1.
We have initial
Well, we have-
estimates,
they have
this
initial prices.
breaks down
But not
the plans even more, yeah.
But
desks,
So the
chairs,
initial,
lights.
the initial cost of the whole project, do you have that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Estimate?
we have,
An estimate.
one's basically 7 million and one's 11
No,
million.
it was 6 million, 8, and 11, or 13.
Well, what are the
Yeah, I mean,
options?
we have several different schemes out there right now, because our last conceptual plans committee was, a discussion amongst the group to say, all right, because we, scheme one that was, out the front and out the back, and then we had off-site. And then the group collectively said, all right, let's take a look at what we do if we just did out the rear side, so we had, another plan drawn up. So at the same time, because the architects continue on to work with us, they shared some additional plans for off-site and then the on-site. So we've, several different schemes going. And again, not my area of expertise, but to Dave Schultz's points, if we spend this money now that I'm requesting, it could be applied to any one of those options that we go to. We just get deeper into, nuts and bolts of it.
Okay.
So my problem with this is you're spending 200 before the council even made a decision on if they're even gonna spend anything.
I think we need the true numbers. We don't have the solid numbers.
That's what he's
So-
saying.
So you have,
We haven't even
you
talked
have,
about it.
you have
No, that's what
pretty,
he's saying.
you have pretty close numbers of 6 million and 8 million and I'll say $11 million.
But that's not with like desks and chairs, right? Wasn't this gonna bring down to like, down to the 10?
What this does is just basically bring it down to, where you're gonna put outlights and switch plates and the whole nine.
It doesn't.
That's like more of a finished.
Yeah, it doesn't
finished
affect the
product.
cost, the finished cost, it breaks down the plan even more.
That 11 million is not gonna go up.
Well, it could go up,
I
not
mean, yeah, it
because of this.
depends on how,
Material.
again, material costs and.
Tariff,
I understood that 200,000 was gonna show you the additional costs for the outlets, and you're saying all that's included.
This will give us, whichever one we go with, whatever scheme, this will give us the definitive, whichever one the council chooses to go with. Or not go with,
Okay.
but it'll allow us to say, all right, we're gonna allocate this. It's, again, 200,000 is ballpark, because when we go out for an RFP, a company can come along and say, we'll do these plans for 100. But this was just a ballpark number of where we could end up, so, we
Oh, the
choose.
200 could be less than what we're saying.
Correct.
But I thought this study was to add all the other little minutiae that weren't in the original estimate.
No, I mean, the estimates are the estimates, and this will be, all right,
Where do you want an
where do you want
outlet?
this wall,
want a
where do you
kick
want
left?
this
That's not
door?
gonna add to the cost of the.
No, this would come off the overall, like Dan is saying, the overall project cost if we decide to go the other route.
Yeah, because that portion will already been
This
done.
is more,
Right.
like it's in the architecture.
The level
You
two
need to
plan.
you need to hire an architect when you do this, right, so this is.
Yeah, I thought it was
Before
the-
the architect's drawings this is an interim step before architect's drawings are done.
They say yes, I say kind of not, right, so when you go through that, right, okay, you got a 12 by 12 room, right, where do you want the outlets, right, or you have a view screen here.
How do they
whatever.
calculate how many outlets cost? So yeah, each outlet's a
They know
dollar.
it's $125,
What's that?
Yeah.
whatever, I mean, they.
No, I'm just making it up, but we don't have
I'm
that
sure
cost.
that the estimates are what code would be, right, so if
Like
you want
60.
something else, yeah.
So, Chief, can you say what you said before about with your committee and Dave Schultz saying, because what I'm trying to understand is why is this necessary? And I think you said it, but I didn't hear it correctly. Like, why is it necessary to do the feasibility study now? If you already have a general idea of a plan, right, this just gets you more honed in to those plans?
Correct.
Okay, and why is that necessary to do now?
Because I think that helps all of you make the determination on which project you're gonna go with. When
Okay.
we go, all right, because I'm
You're already
fully,
gonna have to pick which
Yeah.
option ahead of time, so you really put your eggs in that basket.
Right.
So the 200K, if you know if your electrical is gonna be 250K versus 275K, the decision we need to make is what option are we gonna go?
Yeah.
And then move forward with that. If we have, because when to answer your question, the architect is still gonna be doing it from point A to, they're gonna be in the field for construction. So you're gonna have your CD10, which is really just your outline of your building, and some foundation plan, just so you can get to the $5 million, $11 million number, whatever it is. And then as you get closer to CD 50% of construction drawings, get to CD like 70, that's usually when it goes out for bid or estimate. And then that last 20, 30% is where you're really putting on your finishes, your curtains and all that other
You're
stuff.
saying that this covers that?
I've never called it a feasibility study before, so I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's,
So what
Dave is
happened-
telling us, yes, that everything.
but
is
200K is
inclusive.
a significant cost.
So So we have about 30,000, 25,000, 30,000 into just the drawings right now already.
They should get almost close to finishing it.
Yeah, so that's what
I don't know why
think
we-
that
I don't
this
think
is,
we need
if the council decides to move forward with the project, this would be probably included in that project.
Cause what
Whatever
answer
the
is this
project-
trying to, what question is this trying to answer? That's what I.
Right, that's what I was getting at, it's like if we don't do this, right, how is the project hindered if we don't?
Yeah, how are we
do this,
uninformed right now?
Right,
From
like,
what I understand, it just delays it, like,
but delays in how, right,
Well,
because my understanding
We're
is
just
like.
paying them to do upfront work.
right.
Right, so to Mike's point, right, like when you're looking at CE or DD drawings, DD or CD drawings, design documents or construction documents, you're getting, once you get to a certain point, 70% or whatever, they're doing that detail anyway, right? So my question is, if we're doing this up front, what do we lose if we don't do it?
A couple of months of CAD.
Might be more of a question for Dave, I guess, right, Mike? I mean,
You're not losing them, so there's a third proposal out here that hasn't even been introduced to the council yet. I don't know if you guys had your meeting.
no, we're gonna
It's
need
a
some
meeting, right? So they haven't even met with this third proposal, right?
Who's that?
conceptual plans.
Conceptual committee. Then it has to come to the council. The council has to say yes or no, right, on whatever, and then go forward with this.
To me, the feasibility is if they can, if that plot of land over there is buildable. Like if you're doing like environmental testing, survey, geotech, like that's the kind of stuff, because if it's already decided to build over there, it's feasible, it's just like how much is it gonna cost? And that's what
I mean,
we're trying to do.
Chief, is one of the things, like, for example, like if, I think one of the proposals is potentially building over by where the teen center is, right? But is one of the options that this feasibility study explores is if we wanted to keep the teen center or a portion of
Yes.
that?
The new
That-
plan keeps the teen center
So that's what
over
this
there.
feasibility study does.
It breaks down the plans even more, but the new scheme we just got is one that just goes out the back here, and one that's offsite but keeps the teen
Yeah, so
center.
that
The
already-
initial
that's
scheme,
done.
That
the
plan-
initial scheme got rid of the teen center, but this new scheme keeps it. We found out we have more land next to it in between that and the 9/11.
Right, you guys have
we
done that
thought.
already.
Well, they sent us like in initial,
Yeah, conceptual plan.
like a conceptual
Right,
plan,
and that's the
yes.
idea behind this is to say, all right, earmark the funding, right? So
Right.
then we meet conceptual plans and say, all right, this is the next phase of drawings that, you know, the group wanted to see, all right, just doing out the backside, and going, you know, up the floor. So we have that plan with some additional plans that they added for, you know, the Tabor Road site.
Mhm.
So then we come back, with the conceptual plans, everybody's, you know, and again, this all happens within this year. So, you know, in early to mid-May, we meet the conceptual plans committee, then the idea is we come in front of the council with these sets of, you know, 3 schemes and say, all right, which of these 3 schemes do you wanna see us go with? Then we take that $200,000, give or take whatever, you know, the RFP comes out when the bids come in, and say, all right, okay, we're looking for you to do all of the outlet covers, switch plates, you know, where, you know, cabling comes in with that for any one of these
Do
two.
you-
So
do you-
if the council decides to do one of the projects, whatever the project is,
Sure.
for whatever the number is, or they say, yeah, we're gonna do that project. You don't have the 5, 8, 10, 12 million anyway, so you go out for bonds, then you put the money in there, when you go out then, and then you have the money and you just keep, we don't even know if this project's gonna get off the ground yet.
The only thing that the feasibility study could cover is, do you have floor plans of these conceptuals?
No.
I think that would be the only thing, because you're not laying out these actual rooms, square
They
footage.
lay out the rooms and the square footage, yes, they do.
Is it?
Oh, you mean, I was like.
Like inside, so you have
Yeah.
like your
Sure,
corners.
you know, where
choose,
some
so
stuff is gonna be.
Yeah, so functionally.
Basic,
Yeah,
yeah.
so functionally it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think,
I mean, let's talk about what do we think makes the most sense in terms of what would be the next steps if we were gonna, pretend this wasn't proposed. What would be the next step for us as a council or for the project to move this project forward?
They have to, this committee has to, the conception committee, whatever, has to meet, okay?
Right.
There's a third, to go to the third proposal.
Okay.
I'll say maybe they'll pick one, maybe not, okay, maybe one is their favorite, but that has to be presented whatever, right? The council would really have to take a vote on whether they're even interested in doing this sort of large project, right? And if they are or not, then we would go from there. If we go out for bond, whatever $1 million project, we have to go out for funds for that. I don't see it, I don't see this being done much before the end of the year, all this kind of stuff, if it wants to go through.
Is there enough budget?
If the council decided, yep, this is what we wanna go through by the time you bond, and get all your money, and all that sort of thing in place,
We wouldn't be able to do that in this, because we're looking at the budget now, right, or,
but you would be able to bond.
okay. So I feel like, for me, I'm only speaking for myself. When I hear this process that you just outlined here, I do not feel like I should be making a decision about an $11 million, $7 million worth of expense. I feel like it should be, you're nodding, but you haven't heard what I'm saying.
Well, I know what you're saying, because I'm gonna say it too.
The public needs to be involved.
It has to be a referendum or something.
Well, I don't know if it's a referendum or a town hall, a series of town halls,
I
but
think,
I would rather see this money allocated to educating the public about what our options are and making a decision as a community. 'Cause I'm not making that decision on $11 million.
so I think the council really could make the decision on, where best would go, okay? But as a matter of, whatever. As far as spending all that money, you want the town to be certainly be involved with that.
I think what the conceptual plans committee would do is pick the best plan for this location and the best from there, and they're an advisory board to the council, then bring that to the council and the public, and let, like, as we kind of discussed, be able to let the public weigh in on what they feel is the best option, based on pricing, location.
And since we're not out of the conceptual phase, do you have, how much is budgeted to finishing the conceptual work?
So the plans should be done, we just basically spent an extra 5,000 on that third scheme, which was, 2 schemes technically, each round we're calling a scheme, so those are done.
Okay.
So at this
So you
point,
think
it's,
you're at
at
the
this point, it's a decision.
Okay.
So if we make a decision this year, then we need some sort of allocation for next steps, from what I
Just
understand.
a bond or whatever.
Correct.
So I 100% agree with you. But as far as what we're talking about here for this line item, this feasibility study, right, I'm still not, I'm sorry, chief, I'm just not 100% clear on what this $200,000 gets us. Like, in my head, like, if we were to look at plans, right, and we were to look at them today, looking at the details of where everything is laid out, you're saying that's already part of these plans, right? Desks and chairs and
I
doors
mean,
and all that.
walls and doorways are laid out now,
Okay.
not,
And-
Square footage of
and-
the rooms. and
correct.
everything.
Right, I get that,
And all
right?
those square footages would be like what the prisons
Yeah.
are, all those
oh yeah,
requirements, they.
our architect is, DOC compliant and.
Right.
Yeah, so,
So-
from a feasibility perspective, that's.
So my question though is that this additional 200,000, what, I'm still not understanding what that gets us above and beyond what we already have. That's what I don't understand.
And again,
So nothing that you need right now to put the 200,000 in, is all can be taken care of if it's complete, with an architectural drawing.
It's an interim step that we don't need to do, but it would help us keep moving forward, but it would still require a decision
But
of the
how?
council before,
How would it help us keep moving forward?
because it's a
Stand on
commitment.
Because if we, once we make a decision, they're gonna do the
It's a
feasibility
financial
study.
commitment to do
It's a
this
part of
project.
the process, so it's like, it's either,
So you're saying once we make a commitment, so once we go, get the proposal, go out to the public, do all this stuff, then we make a decision on which one we wanna go to, you're saying that this $200,000 goes toward building all those plans in more
correct,
detail.
yeah, and then it gets taken out of that full cost.
But at that point, if the public, the council, whoever says yes on the project, maybe, right?
Right.
Then it goes out for a bond, and you hire an architect, you go out for bid, and all that stuff is in there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right, so that's,
This
it's,
is,
We're probably 6 months
it's
before
a
we.
step that could be included if we,
if
that's
you
why I
go
was asking
further,
what the full process is, because we can make a decision, then we can do the whole project, and this will be a piece of it, it'll already be in the bond.
this is,
My feeling is we should be spending, we should take
Listen,
some
I'm
money
leaning
and
on people
allocate
like
it
Mike
toward
and Dave to tell me, you know, where I go with this. This was the recommendation from Dave, I'm relying on somebody who, you know.
You won't get a lot of money for that.
Well, no, not this kind of money, but we have to think about how, I think it's a communications and it's a,
The perception, spending $10 million.
They'll have to-
70% of the total budget.
Spend 50
and I
million
like
around
going to
it.
reinvent the wheel because I think
What's
London
another
did it
50?
recently where they had to follow this process where they had a referendum, so they had public sessions and they had informational sessions, so we should look at what that looks like and that's part of what I think this committee should.
It'll be similar to the school if the council decides to move ahead with it.
I would like to see them propose to the council what that process should look like and that we approve that
Right.
and get it going this year.
Yeah.
So that if we need a referendum in November, we can do it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my concern, is I don't, from what I understand, this is getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and we have a non-compliant police department, the facility here.
Listen,
So, I mean, I
100%
have an
agree.
issue with that as a
Yes.
resident, so that's, you know, so.
100% agree with
like,
that. I think where I'm at is, if this is gonna be part of that whole cost of a project, right? Let me state it a different way. My concern is that if we don't approve this $200,000, are we hindering the project by not doing it? That's my concern.
I don't have an answer, I mean, I think that's more of a Dave Schultz question, I
Right.
guess, right? Cause
I
Chief
think
and I.
that's a question for the
Because you-
council.
What,
We're
what's the,
committed to
what are they
project.
gonna draw up?
Right.
What are they drawing up? If we approve the $200, what are they drawing up?
They can't do anything
They
until
can't
we
do
all
anything.
decide.
Right,
We're
right.
months out.
They don't know whether it's over
They
there,
don't know.
whether it's here, whether it's nothing, whether it's anything.
Back in the building.
Next year, later year.
I would
I'm
say
just saying
that-
that.
But we're still gonna know.
But
what
you're still
we-
gonna know,
we're
you
still
get the
gonna know.
money anyway.
Which
Process.
concept are we going to go
Rather
out
than
to?
No, no, I know,
voting on
100% that,
that.
but then if this is the next step, you got some of the grand, we wait till next year's budget, I guess that's the
No, you
concern.
know you did.
I'm just,
Bonding
I'm
type
just-
of it.
I think if there's a way to pull the 200 out, if we approve the project and combine it and pull it out, I think Chief and I would be okay with that. I say Chief and I, because I wanna support the chief and what he
Well,
wants.
it's the council.
They can estimate,
Right.
they don't need 20K to estimate the
Right.
full
They
project.
they don't need
And they're
anything.
gonna put management reserve on it, we won't go over budget.
I believe there might be an expense for them to prepare educating the public, like, you know, I'm sure you have some information, illustrations and stuff, but like, to put together a presentation, there might be a cost associated with
With
that.
pictures and everything.
But can't
People
that
can see it.
come off the cost of the total project then? Right?
Well, and that was the idea, that this 200,000 would come off the top of whatever project we all
Yeah, but you're paying for
chose.
this. You're paying for this thing. You do live with your bond, and you're not paying that. I don't know if you can afford the 200,000 in the line or in here.
With the bonding, so, you know, the Morris Plains capital budget is a 3-year plan.
Okay.
So the first year would be what we're doing here, but I also put in what, you know, the DPW have requested for year 2 and year 3,
Mhm.
right? And those numbers go in there, so
So you've already got money slotted in there for next year and the year after.
for the projects, the main projects, not the things that just come up.
Right.
So I don't, you know, as part of this discussion, you can put that amount, whatever amount you guys deem in 2026 or 2027, earmark it. It doesn't mean you have to do it, it's a plan.
So what is, just because I'm not convinced that by knocking this whole 200,000 out, we're not gonna make the project. In other words, if we take the 200,000 out, I feel like somewhere down the road, we're not gonna be able to move forward because we didn't approve a certain amount of money, right? So my thought is, instead of doing 200,000, right, and Mike, I agree with you, it doesn't cost $200,000 to do all this stuff. What if we do a smaller, what if we do like 50,000, right? That way, it gives, in my opinion, it gives enough to do whatever drawings or
To
presentations
get
or
through
whatever,
the concept phase.
to get to the concept phase, and then we can see where it's at, right? It gives
So
it,
how much do we have for concepts this year in the current budget?
Nothing.
We don't
But,
have
well, yeah, the
No,
5,000 been
I
spent.
think it's,
We spent the
You're
money.
We put like, we started with 20 originally.
Yes, in 2023, then we have
Doing
5 in
20,000,
2024, and now 5 in
For the plan.
2025.
Okay.
I think we should allocate some money for public proposals and meetings and
So
whatever
that-
we're gonna have to pay a consultant to do the presentation.
so that's what I'm saying, is that maybe instead of making it a feasibility study, right, we say it's a line for public whatever it is, consumption, documentation, and we reduce the number from 200,000 to 50,000, right, or something that seems more reasonable.
As long as the project continues to keep
That's
steam and move
right.
forward, I'm okay.
But I don't
Because
know
I
whether you
don't-
can put this in as a capital.
No, no.
Well, that's what
It's gonna have to be
we're
an
talking
operating
about.
I know we're talking about capital now, but I'm saying, but we already said that the 200 can be in capital, so we're still talking about the same,
I never said it can't be in capital,
you said it's gonna be capital,
a resolution,
yeah,
But it has to be funded then.
fully funded, so it's not gonna
fully
be
funded
5%.
from the capital improvement fund,
Yeah.
correct.
So,
Because it doesn't have a useful life of 5 years, so it's
So if
not
we
an
did-
ordinance.
If we did, say, 35K to finish out this public consumption, this presentation, and it's fully funded through resolution, that would come out of the capital fund?
If they're preliminary plan expenses,
Yeah.
not,
Not a presentation.
right,
Got it.
So no, it won't,
It has to go in the line item of
That'd be
the
a line
budget.
item.
operating budget.
I don't think we need that
I don't
much, we
think
need a
we
couple
can put
posters,
a
I think we
dog
need the
show
architect that
together.
one night.
Of this magnitude without help.
They need, I think, all anything like that.
Yeah, agreed,
Yeah.
so I guess it's how much
You're
do we
talking,
set
you're talking
aside for that?
67% of what the whole budget is.
I just
I
don't
know
know
it's
what
the right number,
numbers, can we,
many years.
can we put a placeholder in, and then you guys talk to the architect and say, here's the scope of work? What's it?
You can try, but
well, that was kind of,
the budget gets introduced on Thursdays.
in a different way, that was my suggestion, right,
Yeah.
is that lower the amount, right?
I don't know what that
Yeah,
number
that
would be,
was-
that's my.
I don't wanna be too high and.
I agree with
Sure.
you, that's what I'm saying, I think like 200,000, and I know the chief came at, you know, and you were coming out with, you know, this is just a ballpark, like, number, right, but if we think about,
3D drawings, no.
Yeah,
so if we think about what it costs to do that stuff, right? And again, if it's going towards building drawings for the project, then, I mean, the number that's in my head is 50,000, but,
That seems fine.
well, 200,000 is very high, so.
I don't know how much it-
We might just say,
drawing
yes, yeah, it's like 5K for a few,
costs, 25,000?
just say,
It
here's,
seems more than
Yeah.
that.
yeah, I
It
think,
seems more than that.
25?
I think that's too much.
Yeah. What do you think is a good number for that?
just architects aren't,
15 or 20.
I wouldn't
so
go
much-
below,
so
I wouldn't go
much is-
below 20,
If you're just doing a
Yeah.
presentation, what else you doing?
not cheap.
But
We
put
could
some stuff
really go
together,
just the renderings.
that's computer work, that's really not a lot,
It is
in a
gonna
couple of meetings.
takes people.
So,
time to
a
do
couple
it.
meetings, somebody, a consultant's time, an expert,
Yeah,
putting together the presentation.
takes
I
time.
wouldn't go below 20, just.
Yeah.
6,000 per meeting and 6,000 for him to do some 3D drawings. 6 times 3 is 18, 20,000 for me, but,
I think
6,000 a meeting?
oh, he's gonna have to bring experts in, and they're gonna ask questions of public, who's gonna answer,
The
okay?
guy who's doing the presentation? Anyway, whatever.
Either way, I'm somewhere between 20 and 25.
22.5.
Ah, I second, 22.5.
22.5?
But it's not that we're gonna really, it's there, but we don't have to spend all our money if we don't need it, but, you know, we understand that, so. But I'd rather have something there in case.
Tyler, how do you feel about it?
Why wouldn't we need it, Sal?
I'm just saying, maybe you're not gonna allocate all of it, just like here's 200,000,
Yeah, right.
you're not gonna spend the whole 200,000.
I also don't know what these concepts, they could be pretty well detailed, and you just have to throw them on a poster board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely on board
People
with
like rendering.
a
get
budget
the best
to-
So
result.
you're talking peanuts now.
keep the public good, and so I'm okay with the 22.5.
And just a question, follow-up then, is that a continuance of our current work with the group that we went out to RFP on? Or do we have to
Yes,
go?
Yeah,
Okay.
You guys have to
It can
figure
be.
out who's gonna do that public education piece.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're
and
familiar with the
conceptual
work.
plans committee will meet again, like we said, early to mid-April here, well, it already is there, early April, mid-April, so we have enough time to get everybody's calendar. We'll show their renderings and,
Both the auditorium.
Well, at
I
that point, we'll
I
talk
guess
and
there
we'll.
should be a discussion about trying to narrow the field down, because you said you
Yeah.
have quite a few little things.
correct, and
And
that's
then
why I
I'll-
would
then
wanna
I'll
come
bring
back
the
to the
budget down.
council with, all right, which schemes do you wanna see? Cause, you know, when we round numbers, we have 7 different plans in 3
And
schemes.
I'm sure there's a few that are throwaways, but.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's the point, is that's what, the plan at the next meeting is to narrow it down, I
Correct.
think. And then to bring those narrow down renderings to the council where we make a decision on how to bring it to the public and to take the next steps. I think Dave Schultz will have to be involved. He's the one giving us the presentations at the conceptual plans committee. So I don't know whether it would be him maybe and someone from
User
Usio
groups
giving
already
the
planned
presentation
on
to
coming
the
to,
public.
public presentations.
Cause Dave's got the skills and the knowledge to answer questions, you know, and I
Whatever
think,
you guys decide,
then there's-
how you wanna put together,
Yeah. But-
yeah,
but
sure,
you-
I'll work.
But
And
I think
that's always been a topic, you know, since I started this project in 2023, was the fact that we're gonna have to come to the public to show them what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna impact whether we stay on site or off site
The only
with
thing the public wants to know is how much it's gonna cost.
No, they don't. They wanna know, no, they don't.
disruption to the municipal building for a year, they're gonna wanna know
How
that.
much it's gonna cost them, that's what.
That is a data point they wanna know, for sure, but it's not the only thing they wanna know. So-
I mean, the fact that we're gonna close your municipal building for 6 months to do construction is a large concern.
Yeah,
And
that's
then a
what-
bunch
Doom
of
and gloom,
trailers.
Mike.
No, I'm just saying, it's,
Well,
You
that's.
gotta
reality
operate
of
it
the
for the whole process.
That's up for
Correct.
debate.
So 22.5.
The 22.5 is what we're,
And then when you guys
Good call.
meet, talk about when you can have this presentation ready, and we're gonna look at the calendar, because, you know, this town closes down in August. There's nobody here to go to.
so that 22.5 comes back to my operational line conceptual plans.
Yes.
We don't spend all of it.
Trying not to.
She's going away.
alright.
So then the last two projects are upgrades to our facilities, the one
And do
being,
some county stuff.
for the tennis wall, 20,000. And then the last one is the installation of lights at the train station path. Now, our grant writer is looking into a grant for that, but if it doesn't, if we don't get it.
ARP. I think that was the
Yeah,
ARP.
I think that's what we're looking at.
Say it.
ARP.
Yeah,
Nice.
for the lights.
Mhm.
So, let me just ask about the lights, cause these are the ones that, go over to,
American Road.
American Road.
Well, it
So-
starts at Beach.
But wasn't there something already done, those lights?
Yeah, Jersey Central put 2 lights that aren't adequate over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just not enough, it's still like,
Okay. So this is to do,
They'll also still be there, but this is to put pole
Okay.
lights along the path.
okay,
So,
and then what's
It's
the
too
step?
long for those 2 lights to work.
yeah, can we talk about the tennis
Yeah,
ball?
tennis
We-
ball.
I didn't know about this, so I got
Yes,
this piece of
first I
paper.
heard
Yeah, they
that.
want to put been suggested putting some sort of tennis ball or pickleball, tennis ball, you know, some.
Even soccer.
Where?
Or whatever, anyway, the community park, the Rockmont Park,
Kind of like a-
Simons Park.
Like a back wall?
That would be
Or
so amazing,
Like
because the
solar
only one
tennis?
around here is at Ledgerwood.
like with someone
Yeah,
like, you could play
exactly
tennis
like
with
that.
yourself or
It's
pickleball
so
against
great.
like,
Yeah,
with
a
a-
little
Always
paved
been
area,
used for
10 foot
that.
high
For
We
wall,
try
Or-
from here to go there.
Even for baseball.
for anything.
Everything.
It's great, I love
we
it.
had one of my towns growing up, it was highly used.
Yeah.
How do you,
Expensive
especially
wall.
for training?
It is expensive.
You know those
For
masons,
baseball.
What's that?
you know those masons.
Baseball.
I don't work with those things.
Actually, I don't think it's enough.
We didn't get a
Owl.
quote with that.
You didn't get a
That's
quote?
enough, 20 grand, is it, Sal? Do you think?
No, I think
Depends on
somebody's
the
gonna
height
help
of the
out.
wall and everything.
Yeah, I was
That's what I
20 grand
thought.
seems like a lot.
No, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
I know that guy will bring that number down to $10,000.
I mean, is that a necessity?
It's recreation, we don't have anything in here for recreation.
It's a want
Okay.
and a need.
We have police, we have
Well,
fire,
Do we
roads.
need to put any funding in for the path that
Yeah,
we're going
They
to?
already dumped
Are we
it.
doing that grant this year? Open
That
up?
will be this year, but the implementation
How
grant,
much is that pump down?
No, not for
Trail?
Q3.
Oh, no,
No,
the
it's
valve, the
No,
valve.
we got down
not
for
this
5.
year.
But we
We'll,
came in
we'll
at 5.
apply for it for next year.
Okay,
They didn't meet the time for this year.
okay.
You called me, so I just got a hold of it.
Cause I don't know the date.
I never got touched the water.
November, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you.
Anyway.
Whatever, they
Yeah.
couldn't meet the time. limit.
Is that the study grant? Or-
No, the feasibility,
Trail,
The tour to got
Trail
water
grant.
in the valley.
the trail grant.
Yeah. We tried to do a year ago.
They needed DEP permits and all that.
Yeah, no,
jazz.
they got those, they got the
Right.
permit, design and, what is it, design and permitting, you got that. The implementation grant is,
So did we do all the design
I think with
permits?
the
I
DEP,
believe
we
so.
avoided the wetland, that's
So we
not
do have a
mistaken.
resolution already set up with the Morris County Trail construction community path trails.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's Carl, whatever,
We have
Klinger,
some,
Klinger.
Klinger.
yeah,
That's-
8,000 left in there.
From doing the studies?
Remember Klinger?
Nice.
Right,
Just a
not
room,
including the
right?
grant, so we never, because it
Okay.
froze it.
All right.
Yes,
We have to match some of it, right? We had to match.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so there's, sorry, are we done with the borough property stuff?
Can you add the text, any?
We're doing stuff like someone
Yeah.
spends some money.
The assessor tally.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It says record. So I gave everybody a copy of this proposal from SHI. And essentially what this is, we flip to I guess it's page 4, they're not numbered. It's not the last page, but right before the last. So you'll see the total there is $67,000. Again, this is an estimate, right? Now, sorry for the people that have, I recycle my paper towel, so you got music on the
Cult of Val?
Wait a minute, you got
My
Led Zeppelin
daughter,
on this?
Yeah.
Tegan plays the suspended cymbal.
It was the kids when they did Bands of Morris.
I love it, I love
That
it.
was their
Save
music.
paper.
But anyway, save the paper. So what this represents here is a couple of things, right? Roseanne has something.
See you later.
Thank you, chief, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for coming.
Nice.
So Roseanne had, I believe it was $5,000 in the budget to upgrade the audio piece of equipment here, the mixer here for the courts. So that's actually included in this. It's actually the first line item at $3,213. So again, it's so that's part of this. And as we go down here, essentially, and I'm happy to go through every line item if you want. Essentially what this does is it upgrades the technology in this room, right? So it's bigger TV there, it adds another TV here. The reason why I think that's important is because when we do things like Board of Adjustment or planning board meetings, or even council meetings, like the chief did a presentation, right? It was up on that screen. For people sitting over here, it's hard to see, right? So it allows one screen to be seen by the council, another to be seen by the public. It can also be used during the courts when they do any of their court cases on Zoom or any of that kind of stuff. They can present it up there. So that's what the TVs bring. There's also a third TV in here, which is a request from the construction department. As we are digitizing all the documentation, they need a way to view it, and doing it on a 15-inch computer monitor when they're trying to look at larger plans is very tough to do.
For the planning board.
No, this is for the construction office. So when they do their plan review,
Right. But are we doing it in this room?
no, this is over at the annex.
Oh, so you're
This will be
you're
a
talking
separate
about two different
inspection.
sites.
Two different sites, but this
Okay,
is encompassing all of it,
Okay,
right?
sorry.
No, it's okay. So that would give them the ability to look at those plans in a format that's digestible, right? You can't, it's really hard to do it on a 13-inch screen. So that's part of this. And I'm happy to go through each line item if you want, but
More about capability, like what are we doing?
capabilities,
here that we
yep.
don't
So
have?
the other thing that we'd be adding to this is we'd be upgrading the microphone system that's in here. So the mics that we only have, whatever it is, 5 of, right? This would include, I think it's actually 10 mics. So that way when we have the planning board in here that has most people on the board there, right? Gives everybody a microphone, gives us some spares. Also provides for the gooseneck mics, which is what those are for out here, for when people come up, for when people present. It's a better audio quality mic, so we don't get the feedback issues that we've had in this room. Let's see. And then the last major part of this is that it adds a camera to the room so that we can then do any of the council meetings, any meeting that's in here that's a public meeting. We can stream that to YouTube. We can do Zoom meetings if we choose to in the future. We already have Zoom licenses for this stuff. So it allows us gives us the capability of doing that. So I think in the interest of transparency, right, which is what a lot of our residents want. Right now, it's being done by, and thank you to Mr. LaChance over here, right, and other residents. It's been done by people showing up with their phones, streaming it on YouTube, you know, at their own cost of time. And I think this is a service that the borough should provide. I think a lot of other municipalities do it. I think it also serves the function for the ability to you know, go back and look at these meetings, whether that's from a clerk's perspective or whether that's from you know, another perspective. They can review. It's another method for them to be able to review and you know, hear these meetings. There is, Nancy actually brought something up to me when I looked at this, and it's a really good suggestion, right? Something that's not included in here is the ability to potentially have a portable option with this. So if a meeting does get moved to an auditorium cell, right, or we go over to the community center for the planning board, right, be able to take what's in here and basically take it as a mobile rig and go over there. That way we have the same equipment that's over there. And then the other thing, I don't know if it came from you as well, but it's not included in here. And then the other thing that isn't included in here that was a good idea, and I don't know if it was you, Nancy, that brought it up, but there's some upgrades over at the community center for the audio system. And I don't know if that would be under a rec budget or something else, but it's also technology. So
I
That's not
talked
in
to,
here?
no, I talked to Paul Sambrowski and Mary
Mhm.
Cameron, and you can take care of that on the building around.
Okay.
So that doesn't have to be.
Okay. Great. So,
Was that a one-time expense, or is that an upgrade, like?
It's an upgrade, the microphones are upgraded, I think the speakers are upgraded, I don't know what you find the timing on the speakers, but
Good.
I don't know if you went to the play last year, you couldn't hear the play.
Yeah.
The play, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
not
so
good.
I think there'll be some drop downs, some, what you call it.
ALS, it's an ALS.
It's under
system.
5,000.
What'd you call it?
That's it, wireless.
Well, there's wireless headsets, right, it's what we do at Borough School, but yeah, there's wireless microphones and then there's other systems in there. But, so, that stuff is not included in this, but some, you know, so that's what the $67,000 represents. We don't need to, so the proposal is, we can look at pieces of this, like I said, like if we don't wanna do the display over at the annex, or we don't wanna upgrade the TVs here, but we don't wanna do the video recording system, right, we can break this down. But this gives you kind of an all-in budget idea of what's it. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is because I believe, Anna, if I'm not mistaken, right, that because this is equipment that depreciates over a period of time, that we can include this as part of a capital expense.
If they have a 5-year useful life.
It does. Yep. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. So it's something to consider as, if, you know, if we were to align a budget, I would ask, you know, that we fund the whole thing at $67,000, to add it to the
Or
capital
whatever the
budget.
other bids, the lowest bid.
Or whatever, yeah, because we have to bid it, right? But as far as from a budgeting
Yeah,
perspective,
if it's a state contract, I think we should.
You don't need to go to,
Whatever. I did say at our last council meeting, Bill, and I was being serious, that I was gonna put together a committee for this, to look at all the different things that you'd like to talk about.
Yep.
I don't know whether the council is being voted one way or another to go through with this.
We didn't vote.
Right, nobody voted on any of this stuff. I think it should be presented to the council, and the council should have a say on how it goes.
Well,
And what equipment you're gonna use, right, or not, whatever. But I think it should go through a committee and be decided on what to do. I don't know if any of the construction is gonna have any effect on this or not, this room, so might wanna take that into consideration too. And go from there.
so I mean, I did actually bring it up in the last council meeting. I tried to present it, and you said I need to bring it back to committee, but,
Yeah, I said I was gonna form a committee,
Mhm.
and so that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Take a think of it.
But because we're talking about capital budget now, right, I'm not saying we need to make a decision on what we're doing. It's just, I want it to be included in the capital budget so that when we get to it, just like we were just talking about the some of these other expenses in here, right? I just want them to be included in the budget, so we have an earmarked budget for it, so that when you do create the committee, we can discuss it, and then we know we have the funding for it. So my ask is to add the 67,000 or 68,000, whatever it is, to the capital budget. That's my ask.
Again,
What
I don't
number
know
are
where
we-
we're, I don't know where we're at with this.
We're at 2,591,361.
What was it, to?
2,591,361.
I came up with two prices.
About 1.4 that we took off.
Yes, the 700 plus your truck,
So then what happens if we move
82,000,
forward
and
with
then
this
a
number?
200.
Which is more you have to
Good
fund.
luck.
As far as like
Everybody-
taxpayers.
Everything can't all be done at once. I know this is a pet peeve of yours, Bill, I know you say people have talked to you about it, I get it, I understand. But to do everything
Taxes don't go on.
all at once for everybody or everything, it's virtually, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, you're really stringing yourself out here. We've done extra on roads, we've done the fire
Okay,
trucks,
that
and
makes
big
sense.
items that we probably normally would not do. But,
Okay.
I mean, that's up to you guys.
My
I
feeling
don't
is that
think
it is a priority because the residents have basically voted for the people that ran on this. And this is what the residents wanna see us do. So we would not be, if
Yeah, but
we
it
push
doesn't mean
this.
that it has to be done this year.
I don't
I'm
think
not
that the whole
saying-
thing has to be done this year, but you know what, I think Bill makes a good point about having volunteers be responsible for
Right.
streaming. We should take that responsibility, and I would like to see at least us do, well, they have to do the mixer, right? And, you know, it's a slippery slope, because if you do the cameras and then you can't hear anybody, what's the point of streaming it if you can't hear them?
Right. So, but like I said, there are, I mean, and I'm happy to break this down, I'm happy to put this out to bid, right? And so that we can follow the process and get accurate bids on it, and then I can go
Well,
through the
he's saying
details.
it's state contract.
This
so
is
you
state
don't have to.
contract, yeah.
It is state contract, yeah, SHI.
So you don't have to go out to.
Well, there we go.
And they're probably gonna be similar anyway. you know.
Yeah. So what I'm asking for today is to put money in the capital project budget to
I'm with
fund
Bill.
it.
I agree with that.
I'm with you, but, because I ran on that with you, and I believe in it.
I think it goes beyond, you're right, we did run on it, but I think it goes beyond that. I think it's a service that we, just like when we were talking about, the social media stuff for the police department that they already do, right? It's a service that people expect, right? When you look at other towns around us, they're all doing it. I think we're doing a disservice to the people of Morris Plains by not doing it.
And this has been asked for free here, even though.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we ran, people wanted it, so I'm
And-
saying,
and
like,
honestly,
you know.
Honestly, it's not just about putting a camera in, and streaming it, right? There's other things in here. It's upgrading the audio system that's needed, right? It's upgrading the microphones that are in here, right? It's serving other boards other than just the council, right? The planning board and the Board of Adjustment will benefit from it because they have bigger TVs. Instead of setting up an easel over there that only these three people can see because they're sitting next to it, these people can't see it, the public can't see it, right? You put everything digital, now everybody can see it, right? I've seen Morristown, in fact, Morristown actually does most of their planning board meetings on Zoom anyway. But nonetheless, right, it benefits the public in multiple ways.
So I've had people come up to me and say, I'm not gonna come to a meeting and talk if it ever gets taped, because I don't wanna be videotaped.
Okay, that's their choice.
Yeah, but do we take those people into consideration at all, or no?
How many people came on Zoom? When we had,
Well, they had to.
but
Yeah.
during COVID, we're saying, like.
I know
50 people.
I'm fighting a losing battle here with
I know.
everybody, I
But
just,
you
I
said it was
don't
too
agree with it.
distracting, but that's not what, it's not about you, it's about the public.
I know it's not about
We
me,
had
that's why I
two-
said, I brought up, the public has come to me and said that they don't
Okay,
wanna
we-
come up
people
and.
said it, but I'd say 20 people.
No one said that to me.
During
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
during the planning board meeting, I was over at the community center. We had 100 and something people in the room, and we had just as many people online watching it. And a lot of them were, they couldn't make it because they had conflicts, they were in a different state, right? But it didn't mean they didn't care, they
Exactly,
wanna know what's going on,
100%.
right?
Like that
So,
poor woman that comes from Dayton. right?
Yeah.
She was,
With her baby.
right,
yeah,
that's exactly why you should have it.
so again, look, we can, we can go back and forth, but as far as what we're doing here today, which is a budget meeting, what I'm asking for is that the council agree to put the $68,000 as part of the capital budget so that we can add this.
Can we do it in segments like we've done some of the other projects?
I would like to understand if the council wants to do the whole thing, $68,000 as part of the 2025 project.
Or can we do it in segments?
So
little
Arts
now,
in-
little next year?
Hearts in for 68,000. I'm in for 68,000.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm in for 68.
Mark?
Yes, 60.
Mike?
Yeah.
John?
They already have three, I'm sure.
Okay.
I like the thing about segments, but he's saying it's hard to do that.
I'm not saying we can't do it, but
And it can still be done that way.
it can be done, but
And I'm sure you got other bids too that. you
we
never
don't have to
know
go to
what number.
bid
You
because
don't
it's
have
a
to.
contract.
Yeah.
But, and again, I'm not saying we're gonna spend all this money, right? We're gonna do it in a way that makes sense.
But it's gonna be here and available.
It's gonna be here and available. That's what I'm asking for.
I'd like to see, yes, I'd like to allocate it, but I'd like to see if we could reallocate some of this to making it portable, so that you don't have to hire Sambrowski
Right.
to, although,
So
how
who-
would that work if you want,
who
who's gonna
runs
run the
it?
equipment? Like that,
Who
that
runs the,
question
yeah, that's
does.
my question. Who runs the equipment here?
Yeah. So, it would be easy enough that Roseanne could just hit a button on the touchdown and she can run it.
It's like crash
Yeah.
run,
So,
right?
yeah, it's easy enough that she can just run it.
It's
She's
like a
already
typical
got the
conference
computer.
room setup.
Yeah.
And, we're training.
She's already got the computer there. She
Have you
already
talked to her about
plugs it in. I have not talked to her about it.
But it
That's
shouldn't be
what
the
It
decision
should
of
be
the
the
employees,
decision.
it should be a policy decision, and then we
Well,
figure out.
I don't think the other towns have people that operate the equipment.
So, there are towns that just have the clerk do it. That's why they have a system like this. The clerk can hit a button that says record or stream, whatever it is, and then it goes out and it does its
Does
thing.
it provide a written transcript that they can use that's official?
That is, so it can provide a transcript.
Whether or not that's legal.
Yeah, I don't know, you have to
It's all
look at it.
generative AI. so
Because-
I don't know if it's
exactly.
a lot of it.
Right.
Because
So-
right now, we have an issue with the minutes, it takes so long.
But this doesn't, so, the audio system that that she's having a problem with, that she transcribes, this meets those needs, right? It's not replacing it, right? It's fixing what she's having a problem with. And it's adding other things to it.
But I'm looking at a written transcript, like, can it provide a written?
It can, yes, to Mike's point,
But
right?
it won't like replace a court reporter.
No.
Like,
No.
so I don't think
But
it's.
you don't need the written transcript, because the minutes aren't exactly verbatim.
No, but it
Minutes
helps,
are.
what she's doing now is transcribing every word by hand on a piece of paper, writing
So-
it, then typing it, and as she's typing it, she's editing it. So it's taking 7 hours for each meeting. So if we can get a
Yeah.
transcript, they can summarize it much easier.
Yep, this will definitely help with that.
Yeah, that just can't be out of the
Yes,
minutes,
correct.
Okay,
but it can be a helper.
right,
So, I mean, I'll take the suggestion about looking at it being a portable system.
Does somebody have to run a portable system now?
it would be the same thing, a laptop,
Yeah.
hit a button.
Yep.
It's just setting up the camera angle,
Yeah.
and I don't know about the TVs.
If we all learn and understand it,
No, we could, it's definitely,
Just a question, I don't know if it's possible.
right, it's definitely a
Because it would
question.
save money, because how many meetings over there did we spend $1,500 for
They
those
weren't
planning?
paying for it, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Alright, so then portability is not an issue though, we don't have to pay for it.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a service we're providing, we'll have to pay for it. The
We
applicant
paid
pays for
Sam
those.
Brown, we were.
Alright,
we
but
were-
yeah,
we had
let's say we
documents
have this
from Brown.
meeting with the police station, and it's gonna be a community center or wherever,
Yeah.
do we need to bring
But
equipment?
to your point,
Pay for, you know, money.
But you're saying one button, even I can do it.
yeah, Sal, you need
That's pretty
to.
We can do it. It's just like an office, you put a little
Yeah.
8.5 by 11,
Yep.
step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, give a little sheet that says,
So
you
the
know,
number in.
Please turn it off when you're done.
2.658,464.85 cents.
Mike, that's what I do day in advance. It's been my job for the last 20 years, so.
Just hit a button?
Yep.
Wow,
Well,
Did you restart your computer?
are
I
they hiring?
designed, yeah, I designed the system so that people can just hit one button and make it work. But,
Oh,
anyway.
awesome.
We need a break,
So-
somebody on the clock. so-
Well, before we take a break, respectfully, did we all agree that this?
We went around the table.
Okay, great, excellent, thank you very
There's
much.
the number you got adjusted, 2,658,464.85, and that'll include your 67,000.
Round it up
68.
68.
Okay, I gotta round it up. I'm not gonna do the math again.
You're not done yet, you
I was off, $800. I'm coming up with
You'll
two
figure it
million,
out
six
later.
fifty-seven, 761.
Time out.
Oh, you had 2,591,361 plus,
For the total.
Bill, you do the install, save us some money.
2590561.
I can, you know, Mike, it's funny.
I love the TV at the teen center.
I can do the install and I can run it, right? You put a touch go-
Yeah, but that means you don't live here, you retired from that job.
And that's with the extra 68,000.
Cury's good.
Could we go
Yeah.
there a lot?
Cury's good.
They're pretty good ramen
It's
there.
so good.
What's that?
I had an orange chicken, and it was like so much food.
No, it's a lot of
They give
food,
you
right?
rolls, they give you
Yeah.
so much food.
Bento box.
For lunch, it was like, how much program did I buy? It was
That's good.
I know. Oh, did you get like a bento box, like a lunch bento box?
I didn't know, I ordered the orange chicken, it came with
Okay.
everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
soup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Great
yeah.
deal.
I can't even listen.
So, Anna, can I ask, what was the number that we ended up with?
Came up with $2,657,761.
657 and
761.
760. Got it.
That's with the fire truck. I call shotgun.
You actually-
Public safety, yeah.
I actually found that, right? You do not need a CDL to drive a fire truck, right?
Runs out.
Yeah. So,
I would not want to drive one of those. I remember when I was like a
The
production
GVW
assistant
is
driving a
exempted?
box
It's
trucks in
training, yeah.
Manhattan, and even.
But
Oh, no,
that's-
they're exempt
Oh
from
my gosh,
reporting.
that's what Dennis does every day.
Does Morristown-
They make our guys do this, yeah.
Morristown has, what is it called, a tiller, but they have to have special driving for that, or no? Training?
Well, we do the same thing, we have to have a certain number of hours training,
Okay.
driving, you can't just jump in the
No.
truck and go.
They were going down like
Have
the
to
St.
learn how to
Patrick's Day
operate the
parade, they were
pump.
like doing the whole weaving, I thought they were going around like.
Yeah. I think it's great.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, well, it was just not, it's hard enough to get a volunteer to volunteer, and then go, oh, you need a CDL license.
Go around.
Sal, hurry up.
Spending more time on that
How good is that?
Well,
All right, Anna.
now it's.
Alright, so next item is revenues.
Okay.
Finally.
So we take this
That's
guy,
all they stuff.
this bad boy.
He's bad boy. Yes.
So sheet 4, under surplus anticipated, we're gonna be anticipating the same amount we did last year. This will still leave us with a fund balance of 900,000. We generated in 2024, 2.8 million. Normally you would like to have it same as what you generate, because that's what you bring in a year. We're doing a little bit more. We do have some, debt that we're paying down with this number, and it's like one-time things, it's not gonna be supporting the budget. The next item is alcoholic beverages, that's the same as, 2024.
We don't wanna increase that one?
Can.
Now, there's always
So-
another alcoholic beverages.
So what does that cover?
The alcoholic beverages are the
The
licenses.
licenses,
Yeah.
okay.
Under other licenses, 14,600, we realized 14,646 in 2024. So we can only anticipate what we realized unless we have documentation that we're gonna be getting some, more than that.
Okay. And this, just examples of other licenses,
Pet licenses, marriage licenses, those, what are those?
Cats,
That's from the clerk's office,
Cats.
cats
yeah.
and dogs too, remember?
Yeah, pets and,
Pets,
marriage.
marriage.
I don't know if death certificates are in there or not.
Then we have fees and permits. And we have,
That's construction.
no, fire prevention, anything in our fee ordinance that we collect.
okay.
So we realized 130,374. But we can only anticipate what we realized, so that's why it's 130,300. Municipal court, so municipal court in 2024, we realized 78,640. We're maxing out on that, hopefully in 2025 it'll go up. So historically, when I look back at, 2019, which was pre-COVID, we were at 137. Before that, in 2017, we were at 226,000.
Now, remember, that also included a lot of marijuana arrests, which we no longer have.
This is tickets and that sort of stuff. It's not just, you don't get fines for arrests.
This is tickets and parking fees? Parking,
Yeah, so
tickets?
you don't get, so just, I got these numbers, so 2024 was 78,640,
Yep.
okay? And our high in 2017 was 226,000.
Right, that's what I just
So
said.
it's a huge
Again,
decline. You know, and you know, so everybody's hard to justify some of the costs when some of these other ones aren't here.
If you're not using that to, you're not generating revenue for that. huh? If you're saying,
Well, you got court to pay out of that, you got,
That's what I'm
this
saying.
doesn't cover the one employee in
you're not
court,
encouraging
so.
it.
can't.
Yeah.
Can't even ask the question.
You can encourage, but you can look at demographics. So, a couple of years back, I was asked to look at demographics because we were talking about shared municipal court services. And when I looked at the donut around us, they seem to be, they have recouped their municipal court fees at a faster rate than we have.
If not exceeding.
Right. So either everyone hits our borders and they're buckling up and
It must
getting
be
off
the
the phone.
It must be the safest town in the county.
Well, if you talk to other police officers, which I do in other counties, they say, you sound like they don't feel confident. When most times guys are pulling people over.
The numbers don't reflect themselves.
Or like Anna says, people, man.
Yeah, it's
More and more
the
fun.
safest town in Morris County.
I agree.
Nobody speeds,
The lowest
nobody
DUI.
goes through signs,
Is
Is on the
Hanover all
phone.
Morris Township?
we wear belts.
Is Hanover all Morris Township? West Hanover?
No,
Yellow.
east side is Marsh Township,
West side, west?
the west side is us, and then after American Road, Hanover Township takes it up.
Thanks.
Interest and cost on taxes. So, again, we realized 41,300, so I'm gonna anticipate 41,000. And the last one on this is interest on investments and deposits. Even though we realized 525,000, our total fund balance is lower than it was in 2024, so I'm only gonna be anticipating 440,000.
So, I know it's on here, but we got nothing there. Parking meters?
We don't have
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
This is standard footage.
Oh, it's a standard, got it.
in the building.
Got it, thanks.
Then the next page would be page 5. 4C just adds up the terms. So, page 5, this is, our state aid. So we are no longer receiving the municipal relief fund, that ended, they did say that we were gonna be
No,
receiving the
in the
same,
end, they took it away.
yes,
You're too kind.
yes.
The state robbed us. Continues to rob us.
Is that presentation, like you said, what's state aid?
Yeah.
And then, the only thing we're receiving now, they consolidated pretty much the energy, receipts tab. And, there was another, Comptra tax, but they consolidated it into one. So, they pretty much said that we're gonna get the same as last year, 621,206. Next page, page 6, this is the uniform construction code fees. So here we realized in 2024, 710,138. 500 of that was the warehouse. So I don't anticipate having another big warehouse similar to that, so that's why in 2025, I dropped it down to 210,000 as well.
And keep your fingers crossed.
And yes,
That's
so
hopefully we get
That's-
there.
Generous, right?
Hopefully we get there.
Do you think Likert will start building and getting any fees in this
You
year?
won't see a lot of stuff this year.
Okay.
I think they already did their demo
You
permit,
said they already did demo. Yeah.
you know, so you get dribs and drabs over here, but.
Crossings on ten, so.
Like,
I did look at, 2019 for the appropriation side, when I was looking at what people were bringing in as far as hours, right? And I also looked at what they brought in January, February, and March, and we're lower. So in 2019, total revenue was 177,000.
But the line for that office is 285,000.
Correct, that's their budget.
So you already.
So when they say they bring in rent income, it's not
Okay.
always like that.
No.
They're most years
Right.
they're subsidized.
That's what I'm saying, so when that other person, it comes down to another two-person office.
Right, and then we gotta look at the fees.
You know, there's certain fees we don't charge for. And we should.
So does it behoove us to be generous with this number, or should we be,
No, I think she maxes it out.
okay,
I don't always, I think look at historically and 3-year averages, and I think that
sorry,
is comfortable.
okay.
Pretty accurate.
I have to.
I would hope so.
Sheet 9, so these are our offsetting revenues, so we have, sheet 24 offsets the revenues, that we receive here. So our Clean Communities program is a grant, so we have currently, at $17,879.11, so we're gonna realize that amount. Substance Abuse Alliance Grant, we have documentation that we're gonna be getting a grant for that $5,343. And in this amount is already the $2,000 that they get supplemental from the county. Reserve for drunk driving enforcement, I had a balance of $1,489.24. I talked to the chief about it, so they did get, a machine last year, and they utilized all the drunk driving fund money from the state. We had this amount, but it was locked in, so we couldn't utilize it at that time. So anyway, we're gonna be utilizing, it was locked in 2023 budget, so. Again, we have an offsetting expense. Reserve for alcohol education and rehabilitation fund. Currently, we only have $693.30, so I'm only utilizing it, anticipating 500 of that. The next one, reserve for body armor replacement grant. We have, $6,474.91 currently to be able to use, and I'm gonna be anticipating that whole amount. In the appropriations, we are extending more, but only $6,470 is on that outside cap. The rest of it is in our budget. The Spotted Lantern Flag Program Grant, this is a reimbursable grant, that they're giving us $20,000. And then, the chief did inform me recently about the body worn cameras. So he got a letter saying that they had a balance left over of $8,558, and he's gonna be expending that in this year's budget.
So these other ones that don't have anything in there, is that?
We didn't get the grants.
We didn't get grants this year?
Yeah, they're there because we have 2024.
Right, but we didn't get them this year, that's why they're not in this year's budget.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
And, the next page, sheet 10. So Uniform Fire Safety Act, I have a letter that says that, for 2025, we're gonna be getting $24,328.40. Cable television franchise fees, we already received these funds, these are the only funds we're gonna receive, $92,048.96.
I don't understand that. We get paid by Verizon or?
Verizon.
They're using our right of way.
Franchise.
That's what it is. They're using our right of way, so they're paying for the rights to do that.
I remember I signed one of those vouchers and I asked, cause I was like, whoa, Verizon's paying us a ton of money, and I think it was either Sal or Jason, I was like, cause they use our.
But I think this is actually, this goes down, there was a big jump, but when the dishes came out,
Yeah.
streaming and all that sort of
Yes.
stuff, so this is, used
Lower.
to be much more than what it is now. I'm actually surprised that it's kind of stayed the same, from last year, but.
A lot of towns use that money for broadcasting to their public.
Mm.
So they had like, used to have those cable channels,
Mhm.
that was their municipal
Morristown
channel.
did it, yeah,
That's where the money would come from.
gotcha,
So it's kind of good that we're doing something with it.
yeah.
Relative.
Years ago, I guess, I think, Mayor Frank had asked me to look into the franchise, so like the mayor was saying with the dishes and
Mhm.
all the, streaming services, and they utilize Verizon and Cablevision's wires to get that information to you.
Mhm.
So, he asked me to look into, can we get our penny out of that? And because other, the monies keep going down because people are cutting the cord and going just
Mhm.
streaming, but they're utilizing the same
See,
and paying Comcast, Cablevision or whoever it is,
Yeah,
right?
so Cablevision's.
And the short answer was no.
No.
So, but it was interesting to look it up.
So it's actually, it's by how many, units are hooked up in town.
Oh, okay.
So,
Subscribers,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I wonder, it's interesting, because for people that stream, so they don't have as many boxes, but they have a router, right, which still is Verizon, so that
Yeah.
still is a piece of it, but,
Yeah.
it cuts us out.
yeah.
Hotel and motel tax revenue, so we can only anticipate what we realized, so that's why that amount is fixed. Reserve for sewer improvements, sewer connection fees. So in our capital budget, we have this money in reserve to offset the cost of our sewer improvements. We have 1.5 million in capital. Last year, we anticipated 50,000, this year I bumped it up to 100,000. I know that the grant writer has requested certain grants that require a match for sewers. So we do wanna keep some of that money still in capital to offset those appropriations if we ever get those grants. Reserve for debt service, we have in our capital budget, again, 187,390. So we're gonna be anticipating 115,000. Morris Plains Board of Education, we have a contract with them for, crossing guards, they pay for some of the crossing guards, and also for, an officer to be over there,
SRO,
yes.
school resource officer.
Mhm. So again, we realized in 2024, 117,570, and I'm gonna anticipate the same amount. New Jersey recycling tonnage reimbursement. Right now, in our trust account, under recycling, we have 28,000. We haven't received the grant yet this year, but I do anticipate we'll be getting about 15,000. Next page is sheet 11. So this just brings all our revenues forward, and then the new item on here is the receipt for delinquent taxes. So the max that I can anticipate in this line is 213,760, which is 96.01% of the balance. I'm not anticipating that much, some of it is old lien that we have, so I am gonna anticipate what I believe will be collected, which is the 212,000. And the next item on this page is this amount to be raised to support the property tax. So there's two steps to this, it's the amount to be raised, and then it's the reserve for uncollected. The reserve for uncollected is on the appropriation side, and the amount to be raised is on the revenue side. And it basically balances your budget. So the last sheet in this packet, you'll see is this calculation, and you pretty much put in, what your expenses are without this appropriation, what you're gonna be anticipating your school and your county expenses. We do a 95%, even though our collection rate is higher. If we were to do higher and we don't receive that collection rate, it's really difficult to raise that in the budget.
This is essentially, it's a worksheet, just like you prefer it, W two or W four.
Yep. Plug in the numbers and
It spits out of
So the other several sheets that we have here. So we have our comparison of revenues and appropriations. It lists the condition of our surplus. So we started the year on the bottom with a surplus of 4.1 million. We're utilizing in this budget 3.2 million. Our balance in surplus is 900,000. You'll see the difference between prior year and current year with our revenues and our expenses. Our expenses, I do give you a comparison of our budget, and that's more detailed than this, but this is just the highlights of the actual budget. Now, on the right side, you see our local purpose tax levy, current year and prior year, and the percent of increase, anticipated local tax rate, and then our assessed value. So our assessed value did increase by 2.75%. You also see here the status of our caps. The first is our 1977 spending cap. This is it gave us a COLA cap. So we did pass a resolution recently to increase the cap from 2.5% to 3.5%. So even with the 2.5%, we have an excess of 82,000. Of course, we did authorize another 25, so that would lower that amount when I put those numbers in. And then the 3% allows us to bank some of this money. So instead of banking 82,000, we're allowed to bank the 200,000, or actually 175 with the change. The second cap is our 2% levy cap, which is in 2010. So our actual budget before the 25 was 14,067,000. We're actually able to stay within that cap because I utilized some banking. And you'll see that in the next, not that sheet, second to last sheet, you'll see with that one, but this is the 2010 cap. On the right-hand side, you see that we utilized 217,878 of our bank from prior years. And that allowed us to stay in compliance with the state laws. The last page is this summary of tax rates.
What page is that in?
Third to last.
Before
Four.
3B, that's what you're on.
This one?
Yeah. If you look at the summary of tax rates, the county, I anticipate, I increased it 2%. They give us a little wiggle room with that if I don't know what the amount is, and currently we don't know what the county amount is. So I did increase it by 2%. The school, they actually had their meeting and they have a proposed budget, so that's that amount. And then our budget on the bottom. Again, I have to increase it by the 25 that we were talking about.
That was the one, we should keep saying 25, the one we just discussed with the chief.
No, the 22 concept plan and then the 3, yeah,
Okay.
because that's inside cash, so that
Yep.
affect these numbers.
So, if I'm reading it, the tax rate for the county in 2024 was 0.309, and then you're estimating it's gonna be 0.306? Or is that the act? I'm looking at here. So,
Here?
sorry, I have to look at the bottom one,
That was their
0.3.
rate.
Right,
For
that's the tax
2024.
rate, right,
Yeah.
24, but we don't know what the rate is for 25 yet.
I increased the levy by 2%, because that's
Okay.
the maximum that you can
Right,
increase it without knowing what the actual dollar amount is,
okay.
since we don't have the actual amount. The reason it's down
Mhm.
is because our assessed value went up.
Got it.
So the proposed tax rate for 2025 is 2.546 versus last year's at 2.482.
Correct. Estimated, because again, the outside factor is the county.
But that's a decently solid estimation, I guess, or,
Yes,
okay,
I would say. Yeah.
okay, I'm interested,
You
because
know.
I always wondered from a real estate perspective, so it's cool watching it come together.
So the table on the right is, you look at your assessed value, right? And look at what your taxes are.
Right, but
No,
to see how you get the budgets and everything, yeah, it's interesting, because your taxes are obviously based on the rate.
Anybody have any questions on these sheets?
Cold storage.
Did this change from the last time we showed it to you the other day?
It did, I had,
Because I remember I looked at my assessed value and I'm like,
well, I had the,
County will get higher.
yes, I actually believe the county is gonna go a little bit higher, but you can't, if I don't know what the county, is, like the school I can put to what it actually is, I don't know what the county is. If I put 5% and when you do the, reserve for uncollected taxes, you're increasing it so that you can get more money into your fund balance, right? So they don't allow that.
We say they.
We're under budget review this year,
This
every
year,
3 years,
unfortunately.
the state does
The
review their
auditors.
budgets,
No.
and then, they look at it, so.
So it's the state's, he's got,
They're looking at the budget this year.
gotcha.
I'm just playing the new guys. Newcastle.
And I can understand, the logic is that, normally you're 2% increase that you're allowed with this 2010 cap, you're only allowed a 2% increase, so you shouldn't be going more than 2%. So,
So just explain to them so that they know what everybody hears when we go to county meetings, 0% tax increase.
Yeah,
So
they've
what
already
do you
said it.
explain?
They've
No,
already
they
done
say
that.
that every year, so if there's no crap, so I know, explain that to them.
so I have, if you go online, I wouldn't go to the press, but the county actually puts out a nice budget presentation. This is only one of the sheets, but you can go in and look at it as it is. Right? So the sheets, they say, 6th straight year of no county tax rate increase, the budget is structurally balanced and cap compliant. Rateable base grew by 8.3%, so all the municipalities together, some went down maybe, some went up, but their rateable base, their assessed value increased. Average annual budget growth, 2.89. That's the actual increase. It's below average annual increase in inflation for the past 5 years. But if you look at their introduced budget between 24 and 25 and subtract it and divide, it's actually close to a 3% increase in their budget. But when they factor in the assessed value, they're seeing a 0.
I mean, could we say the same thing here?
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at the local purpose tax, right, you see what the difference is? And then you look at our net valuation taxable, our ratables went up at the bottom here. So it nets out to be the 2.546, but it's really the budget increased by this year.
And again, I think the county is gonna be a little bit higher than that.
The 5.16 or so. So our tax rate will be higher than
So,
that.
no, so this is how much our budget increased, but because our
Oh, the
ratables
amount went up, that's the number, okay, so that's where it all, you
Yeah.
said, Jason was saying, like, it kinda comes together, okay.
Gotcha.
Let's be fair.
I was interested to see, that's all.
Should the ratables go up further once the warehouse has ends, or is that gonna stay the same?
There's a half an assessment on for this year.
Okay.
Well, that's-
But, like, we don't expect a lot more raises, right? I mean,
You can see raises for a couple of years.
Do we have any lawsuits for tax deductions?
so we're not gonna have that much cushion next
Yeah,
year
it's everything's,
to help
the
us
new one
with
we just
this
got.
tax budget.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying, 'cause it would have been a much larger tax hike, but it's not because of the valuation going up, because of the variables.
And JCP,
I didn't hear what you said.
He said,
We
he was
can just,
explaining how it got offset because we had an increase in raises this year.
so she was saying like next year it'll be harder to get
It's
to
about
that number.
rateable over there, it's about $800,000 a year in the tax bill,
Which
Yeah.
rateable?
the warehouse. So,
That we realized this year? And then an 800 next year maybe?
but you double it up.
Ratables also affect our caps as well, because, it do give us extra money, when we have our ratables, for, additions. We do have a percentage there that we can include.
So, next year, I'm gonna be generous,
Tighten the belt.
It's fair.
and throughout the year,
Right, that makes sense.
keep that money going through.
Do you push the 700,000 to next year?
That might be the only way we push it off the next year.
Anybody have any questions?
Good job, Ed.
Alright,
Your compliments.
Kathy?
No, it's-
Yeah, I'm
Do we wanna
impressed.
revisit?
So I can not do this job.
Do we wanna revisit? Do you wanna do?
Was it gonna get back on something with the fire?
No, that's just a question.
No, I think we're good, I'm okay on everything, I think I have a couple, I have a
You're gonna bring back.
question for Chris, I wrote the note down, I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
it in front of me at the moment, but I don't think it was a,
Yeah.
we figured out the police thing, which was the 200K, we got down to 102K. They're getting the fire truck.
Oh, yeah, them?
If you were Chris.
This is the
I already
total
told her
change
to not
do
between
that.
Not
the
the
school
school.
budget and the county budget. This
School,
is-
county.
He's not getting a new
And this is
vehicle.
just local.
Just a
This,
little.
Chris, you're gonna get back.
I was about the, the arson thing,
Oh.
and if there's training involved, and,
Some years
I
we
mean, I think
helped
we
them out.
proved it, it's just.
This year they're
what
helping us out.
So,
He didn't
school,
make
maybe
it
we'll
sound
have
like
1.3
much, but
period.
I'll
Because,
I'll
That's
just-
right.
that's
I'll
about-
talk to him every week, so.
Yeah, but I can't find my sheet.
it's usually they go up more than.
Which one?
Well, the percentage in the
He said
in the
that, I
budget.
think, tell her to put 25,000 into the
Here.
donation we got.
I think Ann already
Yeah,
did
she
that.
already did it.
For what?
We talked about the
The
donation.
25,000 donation to put into the turf field signings.
So we received the fund, so right now it's in capital, waiting for approval to spend it with an ordinance if that's
So
possible.
do we need council approval, or is it something I just tell you to do?
Nope, we need, council, it has to be,
What, to use it?
Huh?
To use it.
to use
Well, I'm
it.
getting estimates now, because
use
the turf is, and sounds last, on the rib. We're repairing it, but it's gonna be a trip.
Is that gonna be a
I know, 2 years, I think, right, I think, a year or two. at least.
26,
To get the
27?
money or the?
No, the last leg.
Pretty close.
How much? I'll put it, so the budget's a 3-year budget, I'll put it in 27.
We should put
Okay.
a little coin operator, like you put a quarter in and use the field,
So
yeah.
how much, like 100,000?
Probably about 150.
150?
I'm gonna get some more donations,
So, I have a
we
question.
knock it on the door.
When he's done.
I'm done.
We talked about the capital budget for quite a while, and we decided, we mentioned that 5% of the budget has to be funded this year, right?
For
So
the,
there's bond ordinances and then there's regular, right? So regular, you could fully fund projects if you have the money in a capital improvement fund or fund balance. You can utilize those funds to fully fund projects. Some projects you won't be able to fund, like the road, we did a 5% down payment is what you're
Oh, okay.
required to have.
For the.
And that's required in the capital improvement fund, you can't utilize fund balance for that.
But next year you could pay that. You could pay it off.
I guess I'm asking, we made these changes to the capital budget, right? How does that impact what we just went over?
Yeah.
Well, right now, we have in this budget $825,000 that's going back into capital improvement fund. So, some of that money would be utilized for this 2.657 that we have. So,
But it won't affect any of the numbers that we have.
it won't affect these as long as, right, the $825 will roll into capital improvement fund. Instead of, putting only $70,000 down for the fire engine, we could put $200,000 down. Again, when the ordinance comes out, you guys approve the ordinance, we approve whether, you could put more than 5% down to an ordinance to fund it. The other smaller ordinances, I would recommend fully funding them with the capital improvement fund. Since we're bringing in, so, 825 over,
Right.
we might as well
So,
utilize
And
it.
that's the rollover fund that we keep every year.
No, that's whatever you guys decide
So
to.
I think the answer to that
to
question,
bring
that
in.
other stuff would be bond and notes, right, the bigger numbers.
1.4 million.
Oh, no, the
No.
2.69.
Oh,
yeah.
2.65.
We cut this from 3.689 down to 2.6.
5.7, right.
Right, and then we're saying is we take 800 and, what is it, 20,000?
825 is what's budgeted for capital improvement fund.
Right,
some may be notes later on, however.
Right now,
Because we're not buying a fire truck right
the
away, we're
roads,
putting
we
the
already
bond
did
down.
a bond ordinance, so we have,
so we can fund
Okay,
it.
so that's already financed.
Right.
well, it's future taxation of
Future.
905, right? And you saw that added to, so right now we have 1.5 million. So the 825 can't go to that,
It can go to these other items.
but it can go to these other items.
Okay.
And then next year you can take care of the roads.
Yes, you can. You can raise it in
That's
2025
what I'm
to
saying,
pay,
you're funding these as you go.
in 2026.
So in the, just on the budget sheets, we had, in the capital improvement, we had 875,000 for 2025. We're saying that's actually 825, 875, right? So it's
Whatever that
page-
number is,
Page 73 in the
Yeah.
worksheet.
that should be what it is.
Yeah, I know when we did this a month ago, we said we'll review it at this meeting, so I just want to make sure we're understanding it correctly, yep. Page 73,
875. Yep,
Oh, good.
so it is
it is
875?
875. That's what's budgeted, 875. So
Okay.
875 is gonna, I misspoke.
Oh,
Also.
so it is 875,
Yeah, I don't
got it.
know why I
okay.
had 825 in my head, but
Okay.
it's
You're allowed to
875.
mess up one number.
I-
You got all the other ones right.
She didn't write it down, so
She
technically
won't
she
sleep
didn't
if she
mess
messes up one number, so don't worry about it, she'll get it right.
Alright.
Next year, I'm not gonna have sing on there either.
It has the right number here, that's the important thing.
Yeah, 875, and then, so and we put this on hold earlier to come back and talk about it, I just wanna make sure we're understanding it correctly. So the notes, we're paying down that 592,320. So how does that relate to everything we just talked about here, right? Cause
That's paying down a previous debt.
right,
I think that was balance on the ladder truck,
On the
Yep.
ladder.
and I think that'll leave 110,000, is that where you're going with
Yeah,
that?
that allows us to use that 110.
Right.
okay,
So we're paying down the 594.
Yeah, but it's coming out of where?
The budget,
Budget,
Show us
the
the where.
taxpayers,
that's a tax, it's in,
it's under principal on notes.
yeah, so, sorry, Nancy, in the budget sheet, it's on page 75. And this is what I was
Oh,
questioning
okay.
last time.
Yes,
We
the
did, this is what you were telling me, that the minimum was 74, but we could pay 374. And this year, we're paying 592,320. And I was questioning, do we need to pay all that? And it sounds like, I honestly don't know. Where we ended up, and
Mayor recommended,
This is the final payment, you're at the end of the line here, so it's either you pay this off or you're gonna have to go out for notes again.
And then like I said before, we can't use the 110K, it's to make all the notes harder to get, because we're now using it for the fire equipment.
okay,
is less depreciated, but it's useful life.
okay.
You could fully fund the projects that, we said, oh, we could use, ordinance 1/2019 to do that. You guys are making the decisions, it's not me making the
No,
decisions. So
understood.
if you choose to not utilize that 110,000 and you wanna reduce this payment, I'll go out for notes, you know, the bond council, out of that 110 will get paid. It could be, you know, 1,300 or whatever his fee is, come out of there. And then these projects can be funded through the capital improvement fund, just like the other ones are. So, I mean, that's your decision to make.
We don't know, we don't see the full impact of that here, we only see this one scenario of using.
You want me to run numbers, I can go to my office and run numbers.
I mean, do you have any,
This is the final payment. If we were gonna do it, then down with a higher number, not the final, not with something that's within reach.
If you wanna see in numbers, you know, I could put in the 25,500. And what numbers you wanna see, and then run these sheets over again.
But that just puts us in a tighter spot next year, have
Just
additional
have the
payment.
funds now to do it.
Yeah.
So, right, instead
And
of,
if things are gonna be tighter next year, we're not gonna want an additional payment on our hands. Right,
We're going the wrong direction.
so instead of the 1.5 million, as far as unfunded, you'd be closer to 2 million unfunded. And then, you know, you'd have to decide whether you wanna fund it at that time. Plus, you know, we have, if the fire engine, if we're, you know,
yeah, that'll be on our books.
I understand it now.
what are the,
There's still a couple of options.
what are our, you know, neighboring towns doing, you know? What kind of increases are we seeing from people who
I don't worry about other towns, cause I don't look at any of their books, so I have no idea
Yeah.
what they're doing, how they budget, what debt they have, the amount of roads they do. It's not really apples to apples, it's 2%, 3%, 4%.
The county one time tried to,
Their rateable base is different, their tax, percentage is different, so.
And our tax rate is effectively flat, right? Because how much,
last year it went
Same thing.
down.
yeah,
This year,
it's slightly back up.
it's gonna be up, but when you look at 2
But we're
years,
just normalizing around a zero,
the tax rate,
yeah.
no.
No,
So if we go back, if you look at this sheet here, the summary of tax rates.
No, not zero, I mean delta. Going up.
I don't know what that's in.
and then talk finance.
Year over year
Net
change,
zero, yeah,
year over year
it's the
change.
fourth letter of the Greek alphabet.
like a lot.
I can
Are you
also-
on this sheet? I don't. You on this sheet here?
Is the tax rate lower than it was 2 years ago? Will it be?
No,
No,
This one?
Yeah, but I mean, no, it's similar tax rates.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So
so
if you look
we're
at
just
the-
up slightly a tick,
If you look at the bottom,
yeah,
that,
2.4.
that's the estimated.
That's
Again,
what I was saying.
The county is,
It's
is.
up.
you
Yeah,
don't
if
know
you
what
look
the
at our
county
local
is.
purpose tax, 0.869, it's going up to 0.92.
yeah.
Correct.
Right. So.
Right.
That's.
People's
so it's
taxes
5%.
will go up like
So, and so that's 5%.
$300
Local,
for the year.
Got it, okay.
but the county and the school, when you factor those.
Yeah, I'm
in.
just looking at what we can control.
Factor the whole thing in.
So on the bottom, all the way on the bottom is,
That's all, everything weighted together.
So- So if I read that correctly, it's 0.02 is the difference, that's big. In terms of percentage.
yes.
I'm good with this.
Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Sal,
Absolutely.
Lee, Mike, Art,
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Turn it down.
Great. Don't leave till you get done.
And she's so patient with us.
Yes. Thank you for everyone for being patient with
Same,
us.
seriously.
It's very,
Well,
I,
I mean,
think
you guys
Bill's
are all
agree.
ready, if you have any questions, you know.
well, I learned a ton,
Like I
and
said.
it'll only,
Yeah.
it'll help us do our jobs better and help us next year at the budget meeting, so I definitely got a much
Yeah, done before midnight.
better grasp
This is
on
a,
it.
this is a year process, right, so I know we came in late, but she'll have a month or two off and then it literally starts all over.
Right.
So it is, it's a year process, but it seems easy putting it together, but she's here.
Nothing about
That's-
that.
Yeah, but she's here,
I-
she's here every night till 5:30, she's here on
Yeah,
Saturdays.
no, I'm sure, that's what I'm saying, this is not something I'd be good at.
I will just say,
She will
nothing
not-
about your process. is
She
easy.
would, she would not steer us in the wrong way, if we were going down the wrong track, she would certainly let us know. So she's comfortable with this, I asked her 100 times, she's comfortable with this, we bounce stuff off each other.
Great,
So all year, bounce stuff off of her, it takes everybody's eyes and ears, right, so,
awesome.
her, me, or whatever. But don't give everybody grandiose ideas for next year, so.
That'd be a tight one.
It's gonna be tight for next 3 years.
The new permits for round 4, right?
Yeah, and we got back from the.
But, I mean, we have been fortunate that
The new permits for
we've been
round 4.
paying down
We've been
debt,
very-
we've
The
been,
housing permits.
you know, paying
what we
off
do.
projects as
Yeah.
we go, and it is fortunate, because I remember the lean years, I mean, when you know, we had 175 going in capital improvement fund.
Wow.
You know,
And
we
our
had,
ratables were going down when you're 125 million.
we had 600,000 in fund balance, it was, I
Wow.
mean, so we're fortunate to be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Motion to adjourn,
So move.
Second by Sat.
moved by, what time is it?
It's 10 o'clock exactly.
2 hours.
7 o'clock.